Oh, I don't need the headphones, do I?
We're live.
Everyone's here.
Yeah.
Man around this motherfucker, will you?
Gang's all here.
Hey, I look dark.
Kiss pistols, baby.
You look dark. I don't know, dude. Talk to the cameraman. Kingston's here. He's got his Texans jersey on.
Stingley.
He's back from, where was it, Atlantic City?
Atlantic City, Borgata. Me and Nate played some poker, met a bunch of Greenlight fans. It was pretty cool.
Shout out to BetMGM.
BetMGM. Yeah, it was great.
What was the highlight? You guys are being kind of quiet about this
yeah,
trip.
well,
Like
coy.
nothing good happened?
So
Usually it's like, oh my
it was
God.
my first poker tournament. You know, Matt's a vet. He's been in a lot of poker tournaments.
Right.
And I won an early hand.
What'd you win on?
I had pocket jacks
Let's go.
and
The boys.
went through, had a couple people in the hand. But winning that hand kind of alert the table, hey, maybe this guy doesn't really know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
And every single time after that, whenever I bet, there was a bunch of people betting after me to be like, we're going to really see if you know how to play. And I didn't, but I just didn't want to be the first guy out of the tournament. Also, I didn't want to be the first guy out of my table because you play at a table of 10.
Yeah.
And the top two of that table move on to the next round. And so I wasn't the first person out of my table, so that was a win for me.
How much money is somebody winning at a table like this?
First place was $7,000. So
No way.
yeah, I could have made it to round 3. I just choked right at the
$7,000 a round or $7,000 for the whole day?
$7,000 for like the winner of the tournament, but
But-
it would have been up to like $1,000 easy if I had won by round 2, but I couldn't.
But
get
with
it done.
that said,
I don't understand you poker people. You spend all day. You can just put in a teaser and be done with it. Win $7,000 in an afternoon.
Well, I
But
took my
realis-
poker profits and I put it on Texas, so I ended up even.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. There we
Real
go.
parlay.
yeah.
So it was a good trip.
Absolutely. But
Okay.
it was a nice venue, so it was.
And I want to welcome Dr. Fax back. He hasn't been back since he got in that accident we were talking
Yeah.
about. You good. Everybody was worried about you.
I'm good. I'm back. Started the new year off with a bang, literally.
Literally, dude.
Literally. But,
Not a fun phone call to get from your friend.
man, oh, man.
I'm just
But-
glad you're okay, man.
Yeah, me too.
And
I just wanna
everybody
say this real
everybody
quick.
listening, go ahead. Yeah.
I want to say shout out to Apple Watch because that commercial that they played, the Apple Watch actually was it triggered. It knew I got into an accident and was able
No
to
shit.
call first responders and call me. I'm on the side of the road, not even really thinking about anything, hugging my girlfriend at the time, and I just start hearing a voice like, hello, and I'm just like, what is this? And it's my watch.
Yeah.
So shout out to Apple Watch, the first
The
responders,
dispatcher.
yeah, in Greensboro, North Carolina. Yeah, it was a crazy night, but I'm glad that
Glad
me
you're
and my
back.
girl are okay. So
Yeah,
happy to be
people have been asking about you, man. People have been like, "Where's Fax?" So he'll be back. and the Butter King is in the building. The Butter King, he's been doing the finger
This
guns.
is the Kiss Pistols, by the way.
The Kiss Pistols.
They put up me and Chris and Big Wit and Kels. Chris, what a great boss! Got us a nice little box over at the link, so we're at the game. They put us up on the jumbotron, which was sick.
Yeah.
And I did the Kiss Pistols.
Did you really while we were on the jumbotron?
It was electric.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, dead ass.
Kind of painful.
It was great. What do you mean, Kiss Pistols, baby?
Bro, you
Classics
couldn't
never die.
convince me to do anything on that thing other than what I did, which was like,
Chris was just like, oh, cool. Yeah.
what
Kiss
to do,
Pistols,
dude.
baby.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody really noticed us, honestly, because
No.
Kelsey's in the frame.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
cap.
Yeah, that's
No,
why
I'm
you,
serious. That dude
No.
is like JC right
bro,
now in Philly.
yeah. Like the fucking, like
He's
John
always
Lennon.
been like JC.
It's yeah.
But it was incredible. It was a great. Before we get into the games, you have to excuse my hat if you're not an Eagles fan. We came straight from Philly.
Yep.
We were up there having a good time. I brought the kids up. I told you about last week. We were supposed to go to L.A. to go to the Rams game and had it all set up. It was going to be a really good evening. Monday evening, we were going to shit. Yeah, they didn't move the night. They moved the game to Arizona, and because I was supposed to go and like, hey, washed up player of the game, they didn't want to do I don't like saying legend of the game.
Yeah,
I'm not a legend, but washed up player of the game.
You're a legend, Chris.
You're a legend.
In some
you didn't
way,
feel like a fucking legend when we were in Philly yesterday? Come on, man.
in Philly, yes, because we won a damn Super Bowl.
Yeah, but
You're not a
wherever you
legend
go.
in L.A. when you play 8 years for a franchise that won 35 games over those 8
Your
years.
insecurity speaking.
Played
Read a self-help book.
I think
Chris.
it's just. I think I need a book. I think I need a book. But we were supposed to. I was supposed to go to L.A. and then the fires obviously moved the game, and so last minute I was able to just kind of shake something together up in Philly and bring the kids because the kids were supposed to go to L.A. They were freaking out. Went up there, brought my baby girl June, who's 1 year old, and dropped her off with the in-laws on the Jersey side. Met up with her again this morning to take everybody home, and she pissed all over me in the on the airplane, and I'm still wearing the same sweatpants.
Worst
So
flight. Worst flight.
honestly, it wasn't that bad.
That's my worst flight, though. Just saying.
When I told you the flight was 2.5 hours, did you believe me?
I kind of was just like, I didn't believe you, but I was like, okay, just kind of along for the ride.
Yeah, I told him
I didn't
it was
even
2.5
blink.
hours. It was like,
I was like, that don't make sense, but
So, anyways, we had a great time. We went tailgating. There was a little bit where I got to go meet up with Beau, independent of the family. Not that I don't love tailgating with my family, but I just,
it's different.
I'm a free bird, dude.
Yeah.
Sometimes I got to be free, and getting to walk around, the F lot, the K lot. Shout out to K9, the Makewoids.
Hell yeah.
In the K lot. It was awesome. I mean, it was great. It was great. Anytime I get to go tailgate, period, in the NFL, but like especially in Philly.
That was my first time tailgating at the Link.
Are you serious?
Because we went to the Army-Navy game a couple years ago, which is
That's
at the
right.
Link.
Yeah.
And there was, everyone was tailgating, but it wasn't Eagles fans tailgating at the Link, so it was sweet. I know
Better than tailgating with the troops for you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Army-Navy game.
Yeah. I mean, Army-Navy, I know what you're trying to do here, but mostly I'm just trying to say, like,
Yeah, it was a lot
was a
better.
fun
Last
experience
time
to
we were
tailgate
tailgating, it was just
as
a
an
bunch of
Eagles
fucking
fan.
veterans, and I wanted to go inside the whole time. I just couldn't wait to see the game. But, this time was a lot cooler. No, I enjoyed Army-Navy. If I had to power rank the times I've tailgated at the Link, it goes Army-Navy #1.
Yeah.
And then 2 and 3.
Okay. We get it. Chris loves the troops.
Love the
Great
troops.
patriot.
Well, hey, I'm the one. Hey, I'm going to take you to Normandy.
Oh, my God.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll
So-
see if Chris actually does that.
No, I shook your hand last night.
You did shake my hand, yeah.
I shook it. So
But Chris texted me at 11 p.m. on Saturday night or something, a video of a parachute that failed to open. And I was just like, my guy is going down the rabbit hole of YouTube failed parachute videos.
It's better.
This
You are
can't be
gonna have to
good.
practice. You are going to.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
we
have.
gotta
We have to go down to Florida.
Yeah.
To practice.
like I
Actually,
said.
outside of Jacksonville.
Like I said,
Well, sure, but
like
I mean,
it was just unbelievable for me to think that you thought it was just going to be something like, yeah, I'm going to be able to jump.
Listen.
What is there to it? You jump
Listen.
out a plane, you pull a fucking cord,
listen,
you float
ultimately,
down.
because the troops want me to practice, I'm going to practice.
Hey.
But I could
also
go in
regulation.
cold. I'm Allen
Chris,
Iverson.
just get an Apple Watch, man. If you end up crashing,
Just
they'll
static
alert the
line.
authorities. You'll be all right.
Chris is dead.
Chris is dead. Chris is a bloody stain
Yeah.
on a beach in Normandy.
No, man, no, that's not going to happen because
No.
we're going to practice.
Yes.
Because I'm going to do the. But anyways,
gotta get
yesterday we met up with Whitworth was in the suite. Kelsey, we went down on the field for a little bit. Gave Lane a big hug. Lane almost opened a cut above my right eye with his big helmet. It's like the dudes are so big, man. Like you can't even believe you used to run into them.
Well, I saw Landon Dickerson pregame. He came over and was chopping it up with us, and I was just like, God, you are fucking mad.
That's also the biggest offensive line in the
Yeah, but
NFL.
we played with Brandon Brooks, who's he's
Yeah,
huge
he's a big
too. And
dude.
they're kind of built similarly. It's just weird when you're not, and you're used to being on the field around guys in pads when you're also in
when
pads.
you're a guy,
and
then
the cleats,
and in the end zone, there's like a small taper where
Yeah.
the grass kind of goes down. Excuse me for wearing a Rolex. I'm only doing it because I was up there. It's our Eagles Rolex. And, Beau,
Sure,
I don't
baby.
know how the chat rules on this, but Beau had. What do you think about this, Facts? He wore his Super Bowl ring to the game.
I think that's cool. Why not?
Thank you. Beck.
It's kind of about, but it's not about the 17 team. It's about the 2020.
But you're in the
20
playoffs.
what the
If any time,
2025 team.
if any time
2024.
to wear your ring, I would
Yeah.
think.
But he was getting like pizza grease on it and shit.
It's meant
You
to be
know?
worn.
But it's his ring.
Okay.
Hey, I didn't lose it in a fucking vat of chili like Kelsey.
He really did that, huh?
He really did that. And every time I try to give him fucking shit for it, he's like blows it off like it's not a big deal. I'm like, dude, this is my prized possession. I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yeah,
about your
no,
ring.
it's sitting on my shelf right now.
Exactly.
I need to put it away. It's been on the shelf for 2 weeks.
You should have brought it up to the game. Man.
No,
His
but like
pistols with the ring on.
we were in the suite. We were down on the field. It was awesome. I don't know what else happened. We went to the casino late that night to watch the Commanders game, which we'll talk about in a second. But we are going to start with the Eagles just because that's where we came from. Listen, I know a lot of people are going to come out of the game and not having access to the end zone. Although, like, honestly, going to watch football live and watching it from high up, you basically have the all 22.
Yeah.
But it certainly helps to turn it on this morning and confirm maybe the suspicion we had. And, like, listen, I've been accused of being a little lukewarm on Jalen in the past, and I have been at times. But this wasn't really his worst game. This wasn't like a game where he blew it or, there's some throws he missed.
Yeah.
I think ultimately this comes down to Kellen Moore not having a great game plan. Me and Nolan were just talking, having finally watched the tape on all 22. It was like, it felt like their passing attack last year. Spacing concepts, very vanilla.
Yeah.
The quick game, it took till like the third quarter for them to hit a couple crossers.
Well, I guess my question is like Jalen's been out. He's been injured. They rested a lot of key guys recently. Was it their game plan going into it offensively to kind of ease him back into it with some vanilla stuff, get him comfortable? I think the thing that I kind of noticed early with Jalen in that game, Chris, and like you said, like we had a great vantage point.
Yeah.
Man. Birds come out and get a huge takeaway on special teams early. Start with a short field. The link is popping. And on that touchdown pass, like it ended up being great, but Jalen seemed a little uncomfortable in the pocket to me. And I don't know if that's the concussion that he had recently or just – he hasn't been playing a little bit, but he had a clean pocket. He had a lot of time to throw, and he tried to bail from it a little early. He looked around, realized that he was fine, then got his eyes downfield and made an unbelievable pass. And it's like,
yeah, listen,
took him a little bit to get comfortable.
It's very fortunate that they got that bounce early on special teams and were able to fall on the ball and execute. It didn't take them long. Actually, go back and watch that first play. Look at the ride that Jordan Mailata took McDuffie on. You saw the same thing? Thank God somebody else saw it. And I'm sure an Eagles fan saw it, but just as an aside, those guys up front are nothing to be fucked with. I mean, and then, the very next play, as Beau alluded to, the protection's so good that eventually something opens up in the back of the end zone for him, and like you get that free 7 points, which really helped because, I predict this is the one lock I got right. I got murdered on my damn locks. I went 1-4, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it was brutal. Starting with that over or betting the under Saturday. And in the second half of that Houston game, I was like, bro, I can turn the game off. So, but the one thing I was sure about was early in this game, the points were going to be at a premium.
Yep.
Because of, and I don't know what the conversations are in the building. Like, hey, we're going to take it easy in the passing game this week, keep things very vanilla, make sure we don't turn the ball over. We know we're better than this team. We know any drive we want, we can go and possess it for 8 minutes and go and score a touchdown or kick a field goal. Like, if we commit to the run game and that sort of thing. And I think it kind of showed that they were kind of tiptoeing out of the gate a little bit. And had it not been for that touchdown, I think things get a little bit shaky from a vibe standpoint in that stadium, which I talk about sometimes. Like, playing at home is great in the playoffs, but playing at home in the playoffs when things aren't going well and you're the team expected to win when you're the favorite, that can kind of turn the crowd
especially
against
at the link. We were laughing in the box because I think it was the second half. It was 10-0. Birds were up. And there was, I think it was after the speed option call on like 3rd and 5 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
everyone was booing.
I'm like, well,
it's like you love it, but it's like, we're.
I think it might have been 16-10 at that point, and that was to lay up and kick a field goal 19-10, and that was the kind of game it was.
Right.
No problem. I have no problem with that because I'm very comfortable, comfortable with that defense, and I think also Jordan Love was dinged. I'm like some people are going to say, hey, you're making excuses for the guy, and certainly he was very up and down this year relative to his standard that he set for himself last year. But I do think he was dinged. I mean, right down to not being able to put the ball right on the money on that 4th down to Malik Heath. He's got to get his feet down, missing a couple balls in the end zone that he quite honestly has to hit. throwing some picks that were just bad decisions. I don't even think he saw Zach Bond.
Yeah, that one was.
But knowing everything you knew coming into the game, if you're the Eagles, you know, like, hey, we just have to play within ourselves, and we might walk out of the stadium and fans might be upset.
Well, Saquon was like, "I'll win 3-0. I don't give a fuck," or something.
Yeah.
I think that's what he said in the media.
And I don't think A.J. Brown's reading that book if he's got 10 catches for 100 yards.
Hey, he's read it in every game.
What do you think about the book, Nate?
I'm upset that, or actually, I want to see later down the line if he has some type of marketing deal, because I tweeted it last night. I was like, I hope you're getting some type of money, because the promotion that book is going to get for the next couple of weeks now that it was shown the way it was. And what do you know? It's the bestseller top thing. And I wonder realistically if the NFL finds some way to find him and be like, you can't do it, because that's free promotion for someone else. And like, what's going to stop another player? Or if I was a publisher for Inspiration Book, I'm sending books to.
You're right. We're not allowed to wear
person in
T-shirts. How are we
Wichita.
allowed to read books? You actually make a very good point.
It's no different.
It took me a second to recognize, but this is a great point.
Because obviously it's a book that
It's a very serious take on this book.
But look,
Yeah,
it's a book that no one really can like get mad at and be like, fuck this book.
What is it? Inner Excellence?
Yeah, it's cool, but like imagine if it was like a controversial
Mein
book.
Kampf.
Or, exactly. If that's what it is.
Everybody thought
If that's what he was choosing to be reading. But
throw the
that's
guy
what
the
I'm
ball,
saying. It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope.
I
So
mean-
I wonder what the NFL does, or if there's like a memo going out right now like, hey, no books on the sideline.
Rodgers has got the Alex Jones autobiography next year. Now, this is the segment that needs to be run in sports media today. Not everybody bringing a book to work.
Which athletes are reading which books?
books?
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. We can do that at the end of the show, or somebody can rip it and do it on their
trying to think
podcast and
of
call it their own. Whatever you want. But I think it ultimately came down to the fact that just, the Eagles understood the assignment. They understood the game. They got a break early that probably colored in how they were going to play the game the rest of the way. And were they great? No. Do I feel great about the way they won the football game? No. I mean, if that's Kellen Moore's best game plan, I don't feel great about it. But
do the Eagles wake up and feel great about being, getting a win at home, having another home game coming up against the winner of tonight's game? I mean, you have to love a playoff win, no matter what.
Oh, for sure, dude. Yeah. But like, let's be honest.
It was a little ugly.
This Packers team, to me, was not ready. They limped into the playoffs. You lose Christian Watson, the way they played at times down the stretch this season, the way the quarterbacks played, and quite frankly, it just continued. And I think a lot of it had to do with his arm. But I don't think this team was anywhere close to the standard that the Eagles should play to.
Yeah.
And so there is a piece of me that's like, hey, listen, you got to get together, because the next team that might come in town is not going to be. And I thought Jeff Hafley did a great job this year, but it's not going to be if it's the Vikings. And each of those teams that are going to play tonight pose individual challenges for the for the Eagles.
Yeah.
The Rams, the passing game.
Yep.
Now I think you can smash the football on the Rams.
Agreed.
I think you can come at that front.
Yep.
But I think if you play the Vikings, it's a give and take. You're like, all right, we feel good about the matchup with Sam Darnold, but do we feel good about Brian Flores changing the picture consistently on Jalen?
I think that's a defense that Jalen will struggle against. I mean, he's done poorly against Todd Bowles' defense, blitz heavy, a lot of man, confusing pre-snap pictures and things like that. And it's a similar, structure with B-Flow. I think if it ends up being the Vikings, I think the Eagles are going to need to play great defense.
Yeah, it's going to be a defensive game.
Yes.
Which, you know what? If you want to talk about the strength of this team, I mean, for so many years, the strength of the team has been the offensive line in the run game.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, the defense is right there right now.
Defense was unbelievable.
And I'll say this, Nolan Smith,
dog.
I'm so happy to see his transition to being a real guy complete, and he completes it. I mean, I think now we can say he's arrived. I don't love him with his hand on the ground. When you motion a tight end over and he's on 5 technique, he's not like a true defensive end.
Right.
But as an overhang player, one thing I've been very complimentary of this year with him has been setting edges. Mm-hmm. And there was a play early in that game where Elton Jenkins came to kick him out, and he gave him a dead arm.
Yeah.
I mean, this
the game.
This motherfucker.
That single-handedly changed the game, because that started the whole O-line carousel for for the Green Bay, and that I feel like was a big part that kind of probably ruined their game plan.
Well, he whooped Zach Tom.
Yeah, exactly. Tom is
a good
good.
player.
Tom is a good player.
If you're an Eagles fan and you like this kid, you really like what you saw yesterday. He was all over the field. Zach Bond, he's got something new up his sleeve every week. He makes plays in a lot of different ways.
Yep. He almost. I mean, he had a chance of getting a pick. I think he got tipped a little bit and then came back and Jordan Love threw him the ball right to him.
And then we finally get a Guantanamo Bay interception.
Yeah, he loved it.
What? Kelsey had one of those hoodies on yesterday.
Blankenship is a bad teammate.
Why?
Because
that's hate. That's racist, Nate.
He didn't.
That's racist.
Like, yo, don't agree. You obviously agree with Quinyon Mitchell that, hey, if one of us gets the pick, the other person gets pedigreed in the end zone, and he just did a terrible job.
What do you mean?
The celebration was the Triple H pedigree.
So I don't pay because I was screaming. I was in the box.
They tried to do the celebration, and it just looks like Blankenship kind of like he wasn't on script with the celebration, so it kind of looked kind of like
he was off script.
The timing was messed up.
Yeah.
So he's a bad teammate.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know,
a little bit.
If you had me out there river dancing after a sack, you'd call me a fucking bad teammate.
But look,
too.
but don't agree to it. You don't have to agree to it. You know what I'm saying?
Bad teammate. He's a little much. Reed's one of the guys. When we went down to the family section after the game, I actually was like, "Hey, Reed, I'm Chris Long. You know, like I'm a fan of that guy's. I think he's a hell of a player. I think he's a hell of a leader too. You can tell he's a big piece of what they do. And you know what's so nice about that? You can tell he doesn't say as much. I've heard him talk before games and that sort of thing, and I think guys respect him when he talks. But you've got C.J. Gardner-Johnson right next to him, who's like yin and yang, like personality-wise, you can tell. And you need both personalities.
Can I interject here for a moment?
Yeah.
Everyone in the chat is saying that was actually Cooper DeGene, and they're calling you racist, Nate.
Wow.
We're mixing up the white guys. Oh.
Wow, let me get that egg off your face.
Oh, how the tables have turned. What, you think we all look the same, bro?
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon?
Sorry for the.
That's hate. Hey, bro, that's good. That's good. The Eagles fans got your ass. But you know, just an ugly ass game. And to Beau's point, like, you know, you'll take them all. Yeah. But I do think there are things you have to work. That's not going to be good enough. Now, I think it was good enough to win yesterday, and they probably knew that, especially with the script was carrying out. And I would say this, Josh Jacobs, I got a lot of respect for that dude.
Yeah.
You know, he gets lost in the shuffle a lot. People talking about Derrick Henry's movement to Baltimore and Saquon to Philly. That guy going to Green Bay totally gave them a different dimension this year. And, you know, it's one of the most disappointing moments of the game. I don't know why he's not out there on 3rd and 3 when they give the ball to the backup running back and he gets stuffed. Great play by Jalen Carter. That sets up the Malik Heath sideline play, which, hey, listen, that's part of the danger of playing that way for the Eagles is if you end up with him converting there, he's driving with a chance to make it a 1 field goal game. Late in the game, what happened? Somebody
set up a concussion protocol.
Oh,
that's fucking.
He's gonna be there for a month, like Jalen.
That was funny.
That's pretty funny.
That was funny.
That is so damn funny.
Hey, I do want to say one thing about the Packers. I was disappointed in offensively is during the course of the season. Like Jordan Love got hurt. I feel like the Packers, like we talked about it a bunch, they did such a good job of game planning around that.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I was disappointed with them on Sunday is like, you know, obviously, like you lose Christian Watson, you don't have that deep ball threat, and they're kind of dinking and dunking it down the field. I think they actually did a really good job of like sustaining drives offensively, just kind of moving the chains, like running their offense without those deep threats. But you just would have liked to have seen them adjust to that a little better. And I was kind of pregame, I thought that they would have.
He's always had trouble. I feel like he has trouble seeing the intermediate level. It's not like, you know, every quarterback's different. Yeah. They all see things differently. And I feel like, hey, they love the shots.
Yep.
I think they love the play action stuff where you can read left to right and you got a tight end on a crosser, that type of thing. But, you know, as the down goes on, I don't feel like he loves fitting in tight windows in the middle of the field. And then you can't deny that Christian Watson being down, the difference between, hey, Malik Heath's getting some of these targets.
Yeah.
He's not on the field, and you can stretch the field a little bit better. And I thought one of the reasons that Darius Slay play was so huge is, you put the fire out on the shots.
Yeah, exactly.
With that play.
And you just take away his confidence in it.
Yeah, you take
And
away the
then
confidence
after that
in it, and
is
you take the football away.
Exactly.
I wish the Packers would have tried to throw Malik Willis in there and just try to switch things up a little bit. I just feel like
I don't hate you saying that.
Listen.
I mean,
I think about
Love
it like
was playing poorly.
Yeah, but you're not going to do that in a playoff game.
I understand.
I
understand.
And I know that,
but
I
clip
think
his wing.
I don't think it's the worst thing to say.
No,
I think there'll be some
it's
people
a
in the
point.
chat that'll say he's in concussion protocol. But I'm actually like,
But look, I just feel like for Malik Willis, it's just a little switch up, and it's something that the Eagles probably weren't preparing for. Seeing his arm, that motion, different passes, but more importantly, the wide receiver core for Green Bay is hurt, and the guys that are in are probably guys that are practicing with Malik Willis all the time. They're guys that are not in the starting lineup. So
That's an interesting
when you're
point.
in practice and timing and things like that, the guys that are in, they're probably used to getting passes not from Jordan Love.
Yeah.
So it's just obviously it's like you're thinking back and anything could have happened and it sounds crazy. You don't put it back up.
or at least some packages for him in some situations.
And,
maybe we see that down the line.
And we all know too that Jordan Love wasn't 100% healthy. Like we seen him last game and like what happened. So I just feel like when you're trying to win a game by any means, it's just like why not try it? Like
No, I mean, hey, listen. Really physical team.
Mm-hmm.
We always talk about the life preserver that they have when things get sketchy. They've got those guys up front. I can pull out numerous, examples of that front beating up on those guys.
Yeah, that's actually my game ball, man. Like
game
we
ball
haven't
to
done
the
any
front.
mentions yet, but it was so fun for us, Chris. We got to chop it up with Lane after the game. Got to go on the field. Chris matched with his boys, see Jordan, Malata, talk to Jergy a little bit. Kels was there, so it's like. It's just fun and like, dude, that fucking O-line is so good, but they're all also like such good dudes. Like it's the best O-line in the NFL.
Saw Stout before the game.
We saw Stout before the game,
Yep.
and Stout is just like as intense as he is and as dialed as he is on game day. For him to come up to us and kind of give us some love was really cool. So my game ball for this weekend is the Eagles O-line. Like I just think they're incredible. Mekhi Becton played really well too. I love Landon Dickerson.
And we didn't even mention Dallas Goedert being back. Like,
yeah,
that
dude,
was the
he was
play
a
of the
fucking
game.
dog. Yeah,
That's a 60-foot public transportation ride.
Valentine?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's bad.
Little brother to him.
Yeah.
It's like the hollow man of this game for me is like, I know Jordan played really badly, but if you think about going for a ride like that, when you go for a 3-yard ride in the NFL, it feels like you're in slow motion.
Yeah.
It feels like the whole country's watching you.
20.
There's games where I'm like, what?
He went 20.
No, I know.
Yeah.
That had to feel like an eternity. And the minute Goddard goes in the end zone and the roof comes off the place, in my head at least, I'd be like, man, like I'm getting cooked right now.
I'm
across
getting
America.
cooked. Adrian Braun
Barbecued.
He's still gonna be on that ride. He's gonna see
Xavier
that.
McKinney
I don't think
came
he's
up
gotten off.
from-
Yeah, did you see that McKinney talking to him on the sideline?
What'd he say?
Like, what were you doing? Like, what was going on?
Yeah.
Because it's just like
I feel bad for McKinney. He played really well this year.
Yeah.
And he just keeps losing to the Eagles.
He calmly asked him what he was doing, and then walked away and slammed his helmet on the bench.
What are you doing?
like what happened?
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things. It's like, hey, playing nose guard, playing in the zero. Like, there's gonna be times guys might be taking you on a ride, but you have to know when to take your losses and
That's
just
right.
fall, make a pile, be a speed bump, trip them up, do anything.
Yeah.
Like, do anything you can.
What did the Packers do this offseason? I think for them, they need a lot of things because Jair Alexander sounds like he might not be back.
Right.
You're going to need a corner. You're going to need I love Edrin Cooper. I think you're going to need another pass rusher.
Yeah.
Offensively, you're close. You really are. I think it's the development of the quarterback.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at that division now, you've got a defensive coordinator who did a nice job this year, totally turned that unit around. And ultimately, when you look around, you've got uncertainty in Chicago. You have quarterback uncertainty a little bit in Minnesota because, hey, they've got multiple options, but you don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah.
And in Detroit, you might lose both the coordinators. So all is not
Yeah.
lost in Green Bay.
Well,
I mean, like they're on the right track. If you'd have told a Packers fan when Rodgers left, you don't tell the Packers fan what it looks like. You tell them how many games you're going over the next couple of years. You're going to the playoffs. You're going to be, X, Y, Z. I think that Packers fan would be okay with that.
Yeah.
With the departure.
I think
of
you
Rodgers.
said it though. Like, I like Jordan Love a lot. I think he's a really good player, and I've been high on him. Disappointed with his game on Sunday. Obviously, I'm an Eagles fan, especially when I'm there for the game, wearing my fucking Super Bowl ring. But like looking forward, I feel like Jordan Love is like, when is he going to take that step? It's like kind of people talk about that with Justin Herbert a lot. Like he loses, in spectacular fashion, throws those interceptions. It's like it's kind of the same thing with Jordan Love. Like he's a very talented player. He's going to be the guy for the organization here going forward. And it's like you just want him to take that next step. And I don't know. I feel like there's a comparison to be made between Justin Herbert.
They had
and
every
Love.
opportunity to beat Detroit beat San Francisco last year on the road.
Yeah.
And, if he's healthy this year, I think, that's even closer of a game. I'm not going to say the sky's falling for him. If I'm a Packers fan, I don't say,
I don't think it's falling. I'm just ready for him to kind of elevate his game.
no question.
consistently.
But you know how many of these great quarterbacks you're waiting for them to put their first big postseason run together?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to talk about one that we all think is very talented in L.A. And, obviously the circumstance is a little bit different, but that was terrible. And you've got guys who are multiple-time MVPs, probably another MVP this year with Lamar, if I'm reading the tea
Well,
leaves.
we'll see how the game goes next week.
No, but I really do think when do the votes get cast for that?
That's a good question.
Because the guys that vote on the AP vote on MVP. And the all-pro team.
Yeah.
All-pro team, sorry, not Associated Press. The all-pro team. And Lamar was first team. And Josh was second.
Yeah,
so,
good point.
But my point is, a guy might be a multiple-time MVP guy, but he hasn't had his great playoff run yet.
Yeah.
So, the playoffs are a different ball game, and it's not good enough to just be in the dance. But if you're some of these teams, just being in the dance feels good, right? And I think Green Bay,
like the Broncos.
Broncos. I think Broncos fans are probably walking out of yesterday like, hey, we're fine.
It's a moral victory.
Pretty good.
Now, 2 more appearances next year, 1 appearance where he doesn't play well or something like that. We start talking about this sort of stuff. So
The MVPs voted at the end of this regular season before the playoffs. So it's already.
I think it's going to be Lamar. I mean, listen, I personally think Josh is the best quarterback on the planet right now. I think he just edges Lamar out, but Lamar's numbers, you can't argue.
Yeah,
with.
individually-
Everything's not numbers.
Yeah. No,
And part of it for me, I'll admit, is the postseason. That's part of it for me. That's why I generally trust Josh. And I think like yesterday was a continuation of that. We'll talk about that game in a minute, but they leaned on the run game a lot, but he made the plays he had to make. Both those quarterbacks have a lot of narratives riding on their runs here.
Yeah.
And this week's going to be a monster game.
Huge.
Josh and Lamar.
Huge.
And again, I want to make myself perfectly clear. If Lamar wins the MVP, which I think he will, you ain't going to hear an argument from me.
Yeah.
It's
I
fair.
agree.
That's fair.
He's a fucking beast, dude.
Lamar.
He's unbelievable.
For the Packers, real fast, what they should do this offseason, would it be beneficial for them to go after a number one, a true number one wide receiver?
Listen, I've been waiting for Dobbs to become that guy, and he showed flashes, but I think eventually you're going to need a guy outside who's like a different.
I think it's
Higgins is about to make so much money.
Tyreek.
There's
Yeah,
so many plays.
No, I like T. Higgins
Hey,
to
you
L.A.
just said Tyreek.
Tyreek.
Now, if you remember last year,
Tyreek's not going to fucking Green Bay, though.
No, he can't play in the cold.
he played in Kansas City.
Yeah.
That is true.
But, like, can you picture,
that was a few years
concussion?
ago.
I cannot
fingers in
picture
my whole time.
Tyreek in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I just can't do it.
There's
some part of me that
case
rejects
the case
that.
for Tyreek in Green Bay is this: they've already got a guy they run a ton of cheat motion with.
Yeah.
You get 2 of those motherfuckers running across the field.
Yeah.
And then, you talk about the run game that comes off it and the deep shots. I understand that when you tell a Dolphins fan they couldn't get him deep ball, they throw a bunch of numbers at you. Ooh, numbers. Let's watch the film and watch all the plays that are left on the field and plays that he has to go out of his way to make spectacular catches because the ball's underthrown and that sort of thing. Jordan Love's got a big league arm, okay? So, when you talk about Tyreek, once you get over the quitting on your team thing, which I contended the other day that like who gives a fuck, because ultimately the market's not gonna give a fuck.
The market won't give. I give a fuck.
I give a fuck too.
Yeah.
But like, are we talking about his viability going forward? People are talking about like
He is
who wants to have
he is a
Tyreek
great
on the
player.
team?
Who wants to have the
Everybody.
Everybody, literally everybody.
Everybody.
And you know how fast every single teammate is going to get over that on his new team? The moment he catches a deep ball and houses it, they'll be like, all right, we're good.
That's the point.
Great teammate right here.
That's
you know?
the point.
Yeah. Would I personally ever have done that? No. Was I ever in a position to have done that based on my talent? Fuck no.
No,
Yeah.
and that's the whole thing. If you do what you're able to do as a player, like and
I just
he
don't
knows.
think Tyreek is going to end up in Green Bay. I just don't. I think that's a great.
I think you never know. But
football
the whole conversation
perspective.
is, do they
That Green
go
Bay
after
needs a
number
guy
one?
like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like coming into the season, it was like, man, like all these good receivers. Who is the number one in Green Bay? But it feels like now getting through the season, it's like, do you have one?
It's a
You know?
spin zone thing where in the beginning
Yeah.
you spin it to being like, well, we don't have a number one. That's great.
Right.
But you also don't have a truly special quarterback.
Right.
And I think Jordan's really good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't pay him that money.
But like we've been talking
But
about the
Josh
injuries,
Allen.
he's been up and down. Right.
Who's their number one?
Doesn't
Right.
They don't need one right
Joe
now.
Brady.
100%. Yeah.
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be the same thing with Lamar. It's like, Zay's out in that game. Well, okay, we'll get the ball to tight end. We'll get the ball to
Right.
Bateman. And I'll run the ball 10 times in the first half. And we'll soften you up and bludgeon you to death with Derrick Henry.
Right.
In an offense like Green Bay's, they
I
got a
could
great
see
running
Godwin.
back.
I
Huh?
mean, I'm trying to think of some of the free agent wide receivers. Chris Godwin could be a great fit in.
But again, he's not a number one at this stage. And he's never really been a number one.
I mean,
not in the
he's a
prototypical
1B, but yeah,
Not a pro-
I just love.
You already got a
love
guy in
Godwin.
the slot who, to me, is a number one.
Yeah.
But he's a slot guy.
And Chris is coming off an injury, but yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. Packers need a lot.
Yeah. Before we
real
move on
quick,
to,
These teams need more than you think at the end of the season when you're like, damn, okay, there are some holes you got to fill.
Yeah.
Right.
Before we
Like
move
I
on,
said.
I have a worst seat, and the worst seat is in the Green Bay Packers training room. Nothing worse than getting hurt in the last game of the season, and the season's over, and now you might have to stay in Green Bay for an extra 5-7 days to do treatment.
At least 5-7 days.
Yeah.
You might be there a couple months if you're young.
That's what I'm saying. It's just worst seat because it sucks that you lost. And for guys, whether you're planning on it or not, like, hey, this might be our last day. I get to go on vacation. I get to hang out with my family. And it's just like last game you lose and you're hurt and you have to be at treatment the next day or in 2 days at 8 a.m.
I mean, I saw Jaden Reed in the hallway after the game, and he was nice enough to come on the show earlier. So I said, "What's up?" to him, and he his shoulder was fucked up. I mean, I don't know what the severity of that injury is, but like that guy's got rehab ahead of him, maybe.
Yep.
And so, anyways,
I got one mention as well before we move on. Chris, this is best seat, and that's Bo and Chris on the sideline on the field before the game. Chris talked about it. Got to catch up with so many old teammates: Fletcher Cox, Lane, Landon, Kels. I saw Vinny Curry, Benny Logan,
Todd Harriman's
Todd Harriman's unbelievable dude. So it's just so fun to go back. Like I think in my retirement era, I miss football the most on like days like yesterday. I'm like,
But it's
man, I
pretty
really miss
fucking
this.
nice. Like,
And
just
then
walking
I just
around
realized it's
getting
just the
drunk and
guys.
people giving you free food.
Yeah.
Did y'all
being
meet
like,
It's just the
hey,
guys. You see
you
all
can
the
go
guys.
anywhere you want. They let you go anywhere you want in that fucking stadium, dude. It's
That's
That's
incredible.
why you wear the Super Bowl
They
ring.
should.
The people in the orange, they're all like, "Welcome home,
Bro,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Whoa, man!"
Yeah.
This is
As
awesome.
they should,
Yeah.
because they know what you guys look like, and they know that you played on the team, and that's realistically like that's
Yeah.
how it should be. Like if you win a Super Bowl for
It was a cool moment. You're making fun of me because I have my ring on, but I went
I'm
to go.
fucking busting your balls a little bit.
I know, I love it,
It's-
but I went to go grab my field pass out of my pocket, and the dude who was like working security goes,
That's my picture. With
"This is your
Saquon.
field pass right here." And it
He
was
said that?
It was my ring.
He
Yeah,
said
and I was
that?
like, "Fuck yeah,
That's
dude."
awesome.
Did y'all meet Gilly?
I met Gilly. I did. Gilly was walking the team out, and Dom's so funny, man. I was like, Dom, I'm looking for like Bo and them, or like I was mumbling, but I was like, I'm fucking confused. I've had like 5 beers, and I
Telling you should go
I
on
want to
Gilly's
go.
show.
And Dom was like, "Come with me, boo." And he just opens the doors, and I like walk into the locker room, and like
Dude.
guys are getting around. I'm like, I don't want to be here, Dom. No,
That's where I was waiting
And-
for you.
and
'Cause I was
he-
with Kel.
You were in the locker room.
I was in the staff locker room, and Dom sat me down in his locker and gave me a fucking cannoli. I'm not even kidding.
Fire.
Yes. He's like, here, sit right here. He's like, I know you're looking for Kels, like, here's Kels, wait for Chris. I know Chris is on his way. I was like, all right. He's like, here, eat this. It's really good. It's a fucking cannoli.
Did he pull it out of like his pocket?
I was like, all right, dude. There was a stack of cannolis on top of his
If
locker.
Dom was like a video game guy, he'd have like 30 cannolis, and they like you got to go find cannolis to reload and shit.
Yeah, it was unbeliable.
He'd have like a certain amount of field passes. A Dom video game is actually honestly a very good idea.
Yeah.
That would do well in Philly.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fucking.
No doubt.
awful.
You got to just go find like Beau Allen in the K-Lot.
There's just empty cannoli like wrappers all around me, or
yeah.
whatever. Like,
I don't think the whole thing is cannolis.
Since we haven't talked about it yet, anti-Bevel Conway, Saquon Barkley being classy. What?
Oh.
the fuck?
You had a prop?
Who didn't have
People
who
in my
does-
suite
who
had a prop.
Doesn't bet Saquon Barkley anytime touchdowns if you watch
Sharps.
the Eagles and you watch games, and or bet Saquon Barkley over 150 plus rushing and or receiving yards, and it all was gonna hit on that one play, and he decided to slide.
Yeah, because we don't want to put our defense back out there with 40 seconds to go. That's how people get hurt.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
I know, but your family doesn't get it. That's the,
I get it, but it's
family is
still
like,
the
yo.
anti-Bevel Conway
Yeah.
seeing that slide.
That's a
when
team
all
guy,
that-
man.
All that on the line. But he didn't even have to score. It's just for the over totals. Like, ugh.
I saw an anti-Bevel
Like
Conway.
go down at the one.
Yeah. I don't know if I should bring this up. There was an Eagles fan that went viral for going over the line yesterday.
Way over.
God.
Did you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was way over the line. He was
Yeah.
an asshole to a woman in Green Bay
Works
gear.
in hospitality.
Like, listen, I'm not Mr. Eagle. I can't come in here and start telling fans how to be. But like, come on, you know where the line is.
Yeah.
Like, let's treat people with some level of respect. You know, kick their fucking ass on the field. You know, we got that covered.
Hey, last thing on this game. How big a problem is the loss of Nakobe Dean going forward?
It's a big problem.
Well, that Chris
It is a
talked
big
about Nolan
problem.
Smith earlier and how he's kind of coming on. It's really fun to see young players take that jump. So for him to have a good game against talented dude and Tom for the Packers own line, I think he had like 6 tackles. I saw him in
8.
PFL. He had 8 tackles, 2 sacks.
Yeah.
Get that confidence in the playoffs against a good offensive lineman, and then, you know, hopefully it just kind of spurts you to some more playing time with that injury. And I'm hoping that he can kind of slide right in and.
Yeah, but you know they're gonna need like I'm trying to think of who the backup is. Oren Burks to step up. You know, which is he's got some experience. He's played in San Francisco.
Will he be
Packers went
dreamed
right
on?
after him. I mean, there was that completion to the back right
They
away.
came right
Yeah.
after him as soon as Buddy left the game. Nakobe Dean.
Right.
I think Nakobe's been so good on early downs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, listen, when you're at home and you play like Minnesota, you want Sam Darnold in third and very long. Like, you feel like you can win those situations. And for me, like, losing Nakobe, it's a good point bringing him up. I almost forgot.
Yeah.
That's the type of thing that can hurt you. In the NFL today, good linebackers, we kind of went through a deal where we were like, oh, linebackers not very valuable and that sort of thing. Like, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
especially against the offenses these days and against like a Kevin O'Connell offense.
Yeah.
If that's who they play, that's a big deal. So, you know, he's made so many plays knifing in and creating second and long,
Right.
creating negatives. You know, good on him having a great year, but that's a tough time to get hurt.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yes.
He's such a good dude that, like, I saw him put a message out and like talk about his injury briefly. Like, yeah, it sucks, but like, hey, we got unfinished business.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that.
No question. All right, so the next game, obviously, the Eagles sitting there Sunday night waiting to see who they'll play. If the Bucs win that game, they play the Bucs, right?
Yep.
And then now, because the Commanders won the game, the Commanders are going to go to Detroit and play the Lions. And then, you know, Eagles fans are waiting and watching tonight. Eagles fans in the chat, let us know who you'd rather play and why. If you got a good point, we might shout you out. Listen, I thought Sunday night, it was like we've had all these kind of bad games, you know, ugly, uncompetitive, sloppy. And this game was sloppy, mostly on the Bucs side. But
Yeah.
the one thing you noticed right off the bat was Sunday night, these guys have been waiting around all weekend to play. And the speed was like, it just kicked up another notch. And obviously having Winfield back on the field.
Yeah.
But I was so impressed with the way the Bucs front was playing at different points in the game, as quick as they were getting off the ball. Like, look on the other side of the ball, the first possession, Bobby Wagner fucking caving Bucky Irving on an ad, and just like it was apparent to me the speed was was faster. Not every playoff game feels that way. Sometimes you come out and guys are tight. Some games you come out and you feel like, man, it just kicked up another notch, and I think it's all the more impressive. Think about that rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, being able to win one of those. But I really do want to say this: the Bucs' mistakes
brutal
were awful, and I want to give the Commanders a lot of credit. We have been very complimentary of the Commanders and Jaden this year. This breakdown is not going to be all about the Commanders because there's things, or about the Bucs because there's things that the Commies did really well.
Magic Johnson.
But look at this. Early on, McMillan drops the ball on 2nd and 7, forces 3rd and 7. They got a kick. Okay. After that 9-minute touchdown drive in the first half, the Bucs get the ball
17
back.
plays.
And they go, 17 plays, 9 minutes. The Bucs get the ball back. They commit 2 straight penalties. They punt. Okay. They're off the field with the Diaby sack. It's negated by a McCollum hold. They have bad clock management before the half. They're lucky to get 6 there.
That was a good ball, though, from Baker.
And then, obviously, it all culminates in dropping the jet sweep and the Barton fucking up the snap count with the game on the line. And honestly, I would have gone. The other team, especially.
I don't think after that, though.
Okay, let me say why.
Ahead, yeah.
Let me say why. Because at that point, what's the score?
2017 or something? What was it?
At that point,
or no, it was. Wasn't it?
Right off the.
Somebody give me the score.
I think it was 2017.
Yeah,
2017. Because you tied it.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's 20-17. You're down a field goal, and so what you're doing is play and tie the game with 5 minutes to go. The way the Commanders have possessed the football,
I get what you mean.
you and I both know, being on defense, how much different. You can dictate the tone of the next possession, even if you don't get it on 4th and 2 or 3. There,
you miss it, then they have to slow the game down. You have guys like Vita, Levante. You can stop the run, call timeouts, get the ball back.
Yes,
I get what you mean.
You're going to make them work for everything, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, new set of downs. You can get stops that way.
You're in 4 minutes.
But in my opinion, a defense too, they know this. When you're when you're tied, let's say 20-20, and you're defending basically a 40 to 50 yard area of the field, in 5 minutes, you can see how that movie ends.
Especially with a depleted defensive backfield. They had Jamel Dean get injured.
No question.
Yeah.
So to me, I'd rather have them in 4-minute mode, and then we get the ball back, and the Bucs can work quick. You saw them sometimes the Bucs. It feels like they late in the season they play with their food in a lot of games. Early in games,
so slow.
Start slow in Dallas.
Yeah.
Start slowing against New Orleans. And on the other side of it, you got the Commanders who have now won on a last-second field goal against the Giants. They beat New Orleans on the road at the last possible second, making a goal line stand on a 2-point conversion. The Hail Mary. So many close games. Atlanta, I'm so impressed by them in crunch time, not just winning these close games, but more the reason I might have gone in some of these situations, they are going.
Yeah.
They're 90% on 4th down.
Yeah.
They're 87% on 4th down. And the game ends on a conversion. Not on 4th down, but you get a touchdown on a 4th down. You get Ertz on a 4th and 5.
Yeah.
And you see how
They're
frustrating.
3 of 5 on 4th down.
Yeah.
That game.
And they didn't back off after missing that first one.
And it's frustrating because you're playing Jaden Daniels. He is the reason you're 87% on conversions. I mean, you're in pistol, and they're running a quarterback keep, which is a brilliant play call on 3rd and 2 there. Can't see as well as he's played in this game, and he was fantastic at times. And so was Diaby.
He's just one step short.
He was just one step short, and
inches.
Due to the call in the formation, David is out leveraged on the snap.
Yeah.
And so, and for instance, on 4th and 5, they're pulling him off out of the hole, really, to spy. So he's up on the line trying to spy.
I thought that.
And so the middle of the field's open.
Yeah.
So Jaden Daniels gives you a very unique ability to convert in these short yard situations. And for that reason, if I'm the Bucs,
No, you won
I'm
me
trying to
over with
convert.
that. I'm just saying I understand why when you have such a shit show clusterfuck of a play like that, and in such a critical moment, it just does not give you confidence as a play caller to go for it on 4th and whatever it was going to be 6. I think Bucky ended up losing 3 or 4 yards that play, and so that's why it's okay, let's cut our losses. let's kick this, let's tie it up, and let's try to play good defense and make this rookie, drive all the way down the field. Which, to his credit, he did. But I mean, you said it, Chris. Like, to me, this game all came down to critical moments. Like, you talk about football, it's a game of inches, right? The Commies ended up with the ball in the final seconds of the game, and that's why they won. But in critical moments, the Bucs just fucked it up. Okay,
Yeah.
You said the fumble with Jalen McMillan. Obviously, my Hollow Man mentioned is Graham Barton. As a rookie center, that's such a.
He's had a good year.
He's had a great year, and I think he's a really good player.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a linchpin of the Bucs offensive line for, many years coming forward. But I think that is one that he is going to lose sleep over.
Yeah.
And it's rightfully so. But I want to give Cliff Kingsbury some love.
Yes.
He has gotten a lot of criticism late in the season for play calling. I really, really like the way that the Commies attacked the Bucs defense. And I played for Todd Bowles. I played for the Bucs, so I was rooting for the Bucs. I got a lot of teammates that I played with that are on that team. I live in Tampa, but I came out and I watched like the way that they used the perimeter of the field early in the game. They came out in tempo. I loved that.
The tempo thing was huge.
I love that. They had long drives.
Yeah.
That were tempo. To have a rookie quarterback run tempo that effectively is really impressive to me. So, like, shit that they did that I liked. Obviously, the run game with the quarterback is great.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Lamar a little bit. It's really good. But then
Even Chris Collinsworth.
all the
5 times.
fucking hate Collinsworth. All the perimeter run game, or sorry, the screen games to wide receivers and running backs out of the backfield, like the quick games in the flats and stuff like that, when you're in tempo, I think is great, especially against Todd's defense. It's a lot of man. That defense, I promise you, I know this for a fact. I got paid to do it. Super committed to stopping the run.
Yeah.
They load up the box, play a lot of man, a lot of exotic blitzes. So it's a great way to get the ball on the perimeter in a run, even though it's a pass. I was just really impressed with that. I thought Cliff did really well. Got Scary Terry going really early in that game.
The shot.
Which I love. Yes.
We were just talking about that.
Ball, man.
Like there's no defense for a deep ball.
Was that
thrower
fourth
like
down
that.
too? Or
I think it was third down.
that was third
and 8.
yeah.
Something
That
like
was a
that.
great ball, man.
It's a great ball, and what it tells you is like, oh, the shots are there. Like,
Yeah.
we have to defend these.
And he won inside on that and covered too.
Yeah.
He had a safety help.
Yeah.
The ball is perfect. you
Yeah,
know?
there's
It's
not a lot of
nice.
defense for a great ball like that.
He's
And,
fit that
and
in
you
there.
praising Cliff is exactly right for a guy that's taking a bunch of shit. I thought the offensive line coach, whoever's coaching offensive line for the Commanders, did a great job in blitz pickup. And then also they just had a good plan. And you mentioned some of the ways they got the ball in the perimeter,
Yeah.
the RPOs, the tempo. When Cleveland's, or not Cleveland, what the fuck is Cleveland doing in this breakdown? When fucking Tampa is mugging up, and it's a bunch of guys on the line of scrimmage, and they talked about this in the broadcast. It's a lot harder to bail out and find your zone,
And you got a spy
match.
guy on the quarterback. It lightens up the numbers outside,
Bobby
question.
Johnson,
So-
the O-line coach for the Cowboys.
OG Bobby Johnson.
Oh,
right.
Bobby Johnson.
So shout out to them. And, I don't know where the Commanders are going. It's going to be hard for them to go to Detroit and make noise. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be shocked, right?
Totals like
I would-
55.
Yeah.
I would love it, though.
It'd be incredible. It'd be incredible if they can score on Detroit and keep this thing close. It'd be a great game.
I think
And for
they should be
Eagles
able to
fans,
score.
They would love that, right?
Hayden Daniels use his legs.
Yeah.
Maybe he could rush for over 100.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of the ways they could give him trouble. What's going on with was it Terry Arnold? He had an injury last week.
Yeah.
And they like to man people up. It's hard to man up against Jaden Daniels. I mean, because he can hurt you late in the down that way.
Yeah.
And who's
And
your
those,
spy?
Those key plays in that game.
Is it Jack
against
Campbell?
Minnesota. Right. Yeah.
Maybe Anzalone.
Anzalone. Well, you don't want to take Anzalone out
He's
of
a good
coverage.
coverage guy.
Right.
Agree.
So
Jaden's just nails, man. Like I looked at like third down performance across the entire season. This is QBs with at least 100 dropbacks. Only 5 had a passer rating above 100. Goff, Lamar, Burrow, Mahomes, and Jaden. You have a QB playing like that.
if you've been doubting this guy, you got to come around.
Right.
You just come to the light. It's okay, even if you're wearing a green hat like me. Just come towards the light. This guy's really good, and it might be uncomfortable over the next decade in the division at times because of him.
Very.
But one thing I saw in the chat was somebody was talking about, hey, like the Eagles would love to play the Vikings because they're just going to run the ball all over them. I don't know where the narrative that they can't stop the run comes from. Like, I don't think they're the the stoutest team in the league, but they're in the top third of the league for sure when I think about run defenses.
Yeah.
So listen, I think the big problem for Washington would be like playing defense.
Yes.
It's like, who's your matchup for Amon-Ra St. Brown? And can you set an edge? Can you set an edge? Can you hold up in the run game against Jared Goff? And Jared Goff's a guy who's kind of seen it all now. And, if they can get the play action going, there's not going to be a lot that you're going to fool him on. It's not going to be a lot that you're going to fool Ben Johnson on. But luckily, you do have Dan Quinn as your head coach. And Dan Quinn has he's got some playoff mileage on him. Yeah. And so, playoffs are different. You never know. But, yeah, congrats to the Commanders and to Commanders fans. I mean, listen, I know Eagles fans don't want to hear this, and there's a lot of them. But I got a lot of friends who are long-suffering Commanders fans, and they feel like they have hope. They
do have hope.
And it's the power of good ownership and nailing a quarterback. I mean, all of a sudden, you've got this owner who seems to be on the right track with everything they're doing. They bring in free agents this year.
And Magic Johnson.
Offense and defense that really fit, right? Everything's very intentional. And we looked at a lot of guys going to Washington before they drafted Jaden Daniels, and you're like, hey, that vet's getting paid, but that vet's not going to win. So a guy like Frankie Louvu's got to feel amazing about being in Washington, having a career year. And, Bobby Wagner reuniting with Dan Quinn, Zach Ertz, a whole bunch of guys. They're going to need more out of the run game, though, next week, no matter what. And I think they're going to need Eckler to step up big. The Robinson train's kind of slowed down.
Right.
So, anyways.
I want to say this before we move on.
Say it, bro.
Don't want to step on the win, but Baker running over Bobby
that was incredible.
Was absolutely incredible.
That was incredible.
I love Baker.
He needs to frame. He needs an NFT of that.
Oh, my goodness, because before that collision happened, I did not expect that result at all. Like, at all. And that was a clean truck by a quarterback.
Yeah.
He binked him.
And
binked them hard.
That's Bobby Wagner.
Yeah. Bobby Wagner. And thank God for Bobby.
That's
He was able to get a fumble recovery.
Is he 38?
Something like that.
No, he ain't 38. He's like got to be 33.
I bet you he's 36 or 37.
34.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, dude.
Thumping early on, though.
Yeah,
I remember when he came in the league.
Yeah, he was.
It's like it's a conveyor belt of great defensive players in Seattle. They just keep popping up.
Baker's
dude.
a physical runner, man.
Yeah, dude.
The playoff, there've been some hitting in the playoffs.
But if you're talking about the Bucs, like coming in the offseason, I think we got to talk about Todd Bowles a little bit, man. I'm not saying – I don't like saying, hey, fire a guy or whatever. And I also have given him a lot of credit over the last couple of years and this organization. But I want to say this. He's got a just above 500 record. You go ahead. Don't
listen.
No, but say it. You're not listening. You're just nodding. You're doing this. So say something. What is it? What you make your case first. Go. Make your case first.
Go.
Why should we not be talking about this?
Just go.
No, you go.
I think that
because I feel like they're still on a good trajectory. I feel like
are they?
I feel like the Bucs kind of like maxed out. They had injuries like early, but as a team, do you see them? I don't really see how.
Dude, did you see all this shit? Now, I understand that Liam Cohen coaches the offense.
I would be worried about Liam leaving. That would be my biggest.
If Liam leaves and they have to replace him again, sure. And Liam hasn't accepted a bunch of interviews, right? And hadn't been asked to do a bunch of interviews. Jacksonville's one.
Less buzz than expected.
I'd be very surprised if he doesn't have 2 or 3.
What I was going to say about this is, Nate, it's the worst division in football.
Yeah.
He's got just
Is it? Yeah. The AFC South is fucking god awful.
Over his tenure over the last couple of years?
Yeah, but I live in Tampa.
So my point is this. And I'm not saying fire the guy, but I'm saying you got to put him under the magnifying glass a little bit because of the way this team played down the stretch.
Turn his seat warmers on a little bit.
This is stuff that they were undisciplined down the stretch. There were games they were not ready to play.
Yeah.
That Dallas game, they were not ready to play. That New Orleans game, they were not ready to play. They let Washington do exactly what Washington wanted to do. I know what Washington wanted to do. Washington wanted to possess the football and go on long drives and tire those guys out.
35 minutes
and
of
they did it.
That
shouldn't
24.
be a team that could out-physical you, And I think on top of that, when you consider the fact that the record is just above 500 in the worst division in football and the fact they could lose their offensive coordinator, I just think eventually – a conversation has to be had about the future. And maybe it's one more year, but they gotta go like this.
I don't think they'll do anything this offseason, especially with Liam leaving. Yeah. What Nate said, they had a lot of injuries that were tough. New offensive coordinator. I think a lot of people weren't expecting Baker to play as well as he did.
But this is when you got to play good at the end of the season.
And the mistakes, to your point, like the mistakes that they made in this game, that's what cost them the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
and that to me, if they don't make mistakes and they lose that game, you say, oh,
yeah.
But I don't think this team played to their potential. There's a lot of people that think like Tampa's not that good.
Yeah.
But we had these arguments all the time this year. Listen, they were at kind of not full strength, but they were better. Hey, they had a home playoff game. For all the injuries that you had all season, you got a home playoff game against a rookie quarterback, although that guy's special. And a team that was supposed to win 6.5 games. Okay, or 7, 6, whatever. My point is this. I just wanted to see better from this team. You know, the Bucs.
Me too.
Down Chris Godwin, whatever it is, like you can name injuries. They got their quarterback of their defense back in Antoine Winfield. You know, you lose guys like Carlton Davis, that really hurts in free agency. Like I think one of the things they're going to have to do next year, whether Todd's the guy, which he's probably going to be the guy, or not. I agree they need a rusher, but they also need one linebacker at least. It might be 2. I don't know what Levante David.
Levante's going to play forever.
Okay, he'll play forever. That's great, and he still looks awesome.
He looked great.
You need guys in the secondary, corners.
Big time.
Offensively, I feel like I like the offensive line.
Yeah.
I love Bucky Irving.
Yes. Yeah. The offensive line this is probably the best that they've played, especially from a run game perspective in the last 5 years.
They need to re-sign Gedeke.
Gedeke's been playing really well.
Last year
has been playing well. Graham Barton, horrible mistake in this game yesterday. Good rookie season though. Cody Mock, I'm not sold on, frankly.
So I think you got to attack the corner position if you're them.
And a rusher. They need a rusher back.
They need a rusher, but I do like Diaby, Vea, and Cansey. I really like those guys. The other guys are good depth pieces.
Yeah.
But you probably, to your point, you need a home run hitter.
Anthony Nelson's a free agent. He's not. I mean, he's a versatile, consistent, versatile player. Like he's good across, but he's not a rusher.
Yeah. So, anyways, they got some things, whether it's personnel or talking about the program at large. I mean, like, I just feel like this team was not good enough to be so sloppy. You know what I mean? They just were so sloppy down the stretch.
And in critical
spots, dude. They fumbled this game away.
Yes.
They just fumbled the bag.
Yeah, but that Baker has had issues with turnovers this year.
No, I get it.
It's been overshadowed by a lot of the exciting plays that he's made and, kind of his will, his chutzpah, But he's turned the ball over a lot. I think he's fumbled the most out of any quarterback in the NFL.
I'd be interested to hear what Bucs fans think. Are you just tired of it or you just want to keep running it back? I've defended the guy, and
you don't know how bad it was in Tampa for so long,
Yeah.
This is ever since, 2020, I feel like Bucs fans are kind of playing with house money a little bit.
Yeah, no, yeah, and the temperature's
you're
not
a Bucs
so
fan
hot.
in the chat. I'd be curious because that is a good point. I want to know, but I think people in Tampa are the morale about the team, like right now compared to 2018 when our fucking staff got fired halfway through the year is night and day.
Yeah.
Listen, Tom Brady's not walking through the door every year.
Correct.
So you're kind of living that bought you some time. It really did buy the program a lot of time. And all I want to see is if he's back next year, I don't want to see this team play so fucking sloppy. And ultimately that falls on the head coach too. I mean, it's not just the offense, it's not just the OC. Being prepared to play in the biggest moments of the season. Ultimately, they're talking about trading the guy in Pittsburgh. He hasn't had a losing season in forever. If he's not safe, then why is Todd Bowles safe?
Right.
And maybe Tomlin is safe, and it's just chatter.
Chatter.
Maybe it is.
Chat.
Maybe it is.
If he was released, he would have a job before his office was packed.
Yeah.
Probably so.
Yeah.
And I think Todd Bowles would get another job if Todd wasn't the guy in Tampa at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I think there's just a staleness that kind of needs to get.
Okay, see, that's a good point that you make. That's what I worry about a little bit in New England with Vrabel. Maybe this is a hot take.
Hot.
But it's you get and this has not really a ton to do with what we've talking about, changing the topic a little bit, but I was thinking about this. I was talking about it with Kels last night. You get a sense, I want to know what Aiden thinks about this. You get a sense that the Patriots are kind of trying to recapture the Patriot way.
Yeah.
I kind of get, and they have a lot to be excited about with their young quarterback and blah blah blah. They're going to Vrabel, it just seems like a match made in heaven. I'm just worried that they're gonna try to, recreate something that you can't recreate without Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and it's gonna haunt them for the next 5 years because they're trying to.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean?
We'll be there in a minute. We'll be there in a minute.
I do.
But I just want to say this last thing. Another reason that maybe the status quo is okay for you guys, but look at Atlanta. They're going to do this. Mm-hmm. That quarterback's really good.
Yeah, well, that's what
Carolina's doing this, at least.
The commies have done this.
And Tampa's just kind of here.
Yeah.
If this is the ceiling and this is the midline, they're just kind of here. Mm-hmm. But Atlanta's doing this. Mm-hmm. And Carolina's down here and they're doing this. So if you're just going to keep doing this, what are we doing? And that's my only thing is like, you got all these positions you could improve upon, but if you're going to be sloppy, you ain't going to win. Baker's really good. I love Baker.
Yeah.
But he ain't a top 5 guy that can help you over. Like Lamar, when Baltimore's got 12 penalties a game, who cares? I mean, I care. But you find a way to fucking win. You can't overcome shit like this.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I have a mention, and it's fly on the wall, and it's going to Zane Gonzalez, who supposedly has OCD.
Oh.
And he was fidgeting with his socks and his cleats before that last kick that he was doing doinking in. I just want to say I'm just so glad for him, for his family, for everyone he loves that ball doinked in instead of out.
Yeah, it's a very fortuitous doink.
I'm just so happy because just the type of stuff that probably would have happened if they lost that game the way. It just would have been bad, but
you don't need a self-help book to get to play well. You just need to get your hair and socks right. You know?
I guess so, bro. Like, have you guys ever been like
OCD?
Just, OCD about something that you just before a game or during the game, like, yo, I need this to be like this. Like towel
pre-game for me,
like
tape
a superstition. Almost, or
like you see what he was doing, like guys, or like maybe like a fidget.
I was a little stitious.
Not super.
Yeah, I had a couple little things, but nothing like that. I was like that consumed me.
And he's been super public with his battle with OCD since his freshman year.
It's probably a different ball game that I'm not well versed in.
Your hair, white guys, you guys care about your hair under the hair?
Oh, I care about my hair now.
For sure.
I just do.
Our hair is less consistent.
But I'm saying like it's gonna get fucked up no matter what. We're about to sweat.
No, I didn't care about my hair. Dude, I would put my hair in a low pony. No, I actually wore my hair down on game day, but I had a skull cap on. And, dude, I would brush it out after games and after practice. And it would be like, it would be like dreaded.
Dude, I kept the skull cap on because when you take your helmet off, if you got like white guy hair and you're in your 30s, I end up looking like Brock Bowers. You know what I'm saying? And, hey, no shade. That boy he is a bad boy.
Yeah.
But that's how I was afraid of looking. Like, you take your helmet off, it's all fucking cold. You got the little runways showing and shit. Like, I don't want to see that. So, anyways.
Before we hit the next game, BetMGM is presenting this show.
All right, they are. BetMGM has made betting easy and seamless all season long. Hopefully, you've been able to pick up some plays from us to use on the BetMGM app. Hopefully not this weekend. And this weekend, BetMGM has given you a chance to win up to $250,000 in bonus bets. It's all part of BetMGM's longest touchdown jackpot, where you'll be able to split the grand prize with anyone else who bet on the longest touchdown of the week. It's easy to get started. Log into your BetMGM account and opt into the promo. Then place an anytime touchdown wager of $10 or more on the player of your choice, up to one player per game. If your player scores the longest touchdown of the week, you'll win a share of $250,000. Be sure to take advantage of this offer, and remember, use bonus code GREENLIGHT when you sign up to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Happy hunting. Is that English?
I
didn't realize you did those ad reads live. I thought it was
no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. My guys really.
They don't always go that shitty.
Is it still Lad McConkey, like the 86-yard is in lead right now?
Yep.
I don't know.
It's going to be hard. Only one more game left. So if you bet Lad McConkey,
yeah, you're feeling
congrats
good.
to you.
Yeah,
right
congrats.
now.
Hopefully you didn't bet the Chargers. Hopefully you're not a Chargers fan.
You probably are a Chargers fan, but that probably would make the loss a little bit better if you know you got some money coming.
So at this point, then we do go back to the Chargers. We go back. We said we got the NFC games done. Let's go back to Saturday.
Tough start to wildcard weekend, man.
Yeah, I had a hard time staying engaged in that one.
I started off so erect.
Yeah?
And just deflated.
Is it crazy for me to think?
You okay?
Just need a blue pill. Let me get one.
Oh, my God. No, I mean, go ahead. Is it crazy what? That Bo's hard watching playoffs?
I mean, I don't think that's crazy.
No, is it crazy for me to think, like, just with everything that's going on, not football related, with, like, L.A. and L.A. teams, like, that for a team and an organization.
Yes, it's not crazy.
It's not crazy.
To be,
I know what you're gonna say.
To be 100% focused on football.
It's not crazy.
Get a little
I'm not gonna make that loss about that, but you know.
But is it hard to say? Like it's hard to say like that wasn't a fact.
Yeah, these people are leaving. They got people at home that are who knows what's going on.
And
evacuating, not evacuating. You got your kids at home. You can't bring everybody to Houston. You can send them home to wherever you go in the off season, but a lot of guys don't have an off season place, especially when they live in LA. They're like, I think I'll just stay here.
Just a bunch of different stuff.
So yeah, there's a lot going on in that situation. And look, I don't think anybody used that excuse. Not that it would be an excuse; it'd be a perfectly viable excuse. But I think ultimately what it comes down to is we said this coming in the game. This is going to be really hard to throw the ball in this game for both quarterbacks. And I think with Josh Palmer out, let me say this first. I still think Justin's really talented. There's going to be some people that are waiting for me to get up here and be like, oh, he sucks. He sucked Saturday.
Yes.
That was brutal.
It was hard to watch.
That was as bad as it could be. But you know what the difference between 4 picks and 1 pick and a loss is? 3 picks. You still lost the fucking playoff game.
Absolutely.
Okay? What he did to this level this year, I think buys him a lot of time in the narrative sweepstakes, depending on who you are. If you think he's trash, you just think he's trash. And I'm not going to argue with you. He's got to prove it. And next year is going to be a big opportunity for him to prove it with more guys than just Lab McConkey out there because Josh Palmer's down.
That's all they got.
And they got 2 really good corners in Houston. And that team in Houston, think of all the quarterbacks they made look really bad this year. Jared Goff threw 5 picks down there.
Yeah.
He barely throws interceptions.
Yeah.
You know, Tua was terrible down there. You had a couple other guys that you mentioned were really bad down in Houston. When you're playing that team down there, you got to be really precise. And I think more than anything, you have to get down in the red zone early and get touchdowns. Mm-hmm. When you're on the road playing a team that you think you got to put away, you got to put them away. In the playoffs, in the regular season, it's one of those things that the minute you kick field goals early in a game like that on the road, it's like, oh, shit. And so to the Justin Herbert narrative conversation, he's another quarterback that lost this weekend.
Yeah.
Yep.
But for people that are going to do the first take thing, he's either going to be, oh, he's the worst, he's bottom 10, or there's going to be people clinging to this, he's top 5 thing. He ain't top 5. He's not even close to working his way into that conversation. He's got top 5 talent.
Yes.
He's got absolutely top 5 talent, but there's more to throwing the football than just I throw it far and I throw it straight and I throw a spiral and I'm big and I'm fast. It's between the ears. And this is one that's going to kind of haunt him. So next year, if he ends up in this spot again, you have to consider the pressure he's going to be under. Mm-hmm. Now, if he wants to be great, he's got to answer the bell in situations like this. But can I say this, Bo?
Yes.
I just want to say this, okay? We got to get more than 2 catches for 14 yards out of the non-white receivers. Okay, like that to me is a damning stat. Okay, that's not a
Who
good
was it?
thing.
Quentin Johnston? Who had?
He's like,
who was it? Johnston?
No,
it's true.
They were selling out.
And Disley.
I was texting the group chat. You don't throw the ball to number 1. Bad things happen for the Chargers. Bad, and you know me, I hate wide receivers that are like that. It's just like, bro, you're obviously talented enough that your team keeps putting you out there. Get on the fucking jugs, and you probably are, but it's just you can't be dropping balls, bro. Like Vele too. Like
you also
haven't
can't
even
be
got
short of the
yet.
sticks on 4th and 2 or whatever it is. Like they're not explosive, and we knew that.
Yeah.
And we thought that because he played so well this year, all of a sudden he was gonna like grow receivers in the playoffs, or he was gonna become like this guy that's already a top 5 guy. Listen, I thought they might win this game.
I thought they'd win it like, I don't know,
I thought
17-10.
And I thought they had opportunities to win a low-scoring game, but again, those opportunities go out the window when you don't get points and you kick field goals early.
Yeah.
But he's pressured on 52.8% of his dropbacks. It's not an excuse. He played like dog shit.
the defense
he had
protects-
one big opportunity. He whiffed. He totally whiffed. But that's a lot of crazy shit to have to deal with. Just being real. And C.J. Stroud on the other side, he took a bad snap, picked it up. Not a bad snap. He missed the snap. And hit Hutchinson for 36 yards. They're dead in the water before that.
Yeah, right.
So it was like just that kind of game where the one guy that made the play to catapult his team ended up winning.
It's
and
funny
that
how
was
it
the
happened
play.
off schedule too for Stroud.
And
we
that's indicative of how it's been all season long.
Yes.
We haven't talked about this yet, but my still memorial is going to D'Amico Ryans, and it's just he called like. How about everyone just talk about him calling a great game and having a defensive
He was
plan
unbelievable.
and just having his guys in the right place to confuse the quarterback and to be in the right spot to have 4 interceptions. It's not always about schemes, but like if you can have your guys ready to play mentally, to play fast and physical like they were playing, man, it looks really good. And like I'm a Jacksonville fan, and I don't want to like bring up Shazier, but bro, he was bringing the wood early in that game, and I just feel like the Houston as a defense, I think they were rallying like around that, and they were really physically imposing.
Him being back
is
huge.
huge.
Him being back, him and Christian Harris being on the field for the first time
It's huge.
all season. It's one of the reasons why I think next week's matchup is really intriguing to me. I mean, like, we know the facts. The first time they played, now Kansas City's better than they were when they played Houston. Yeah. Like, they got Hollywood Brown back, and they started using him differently. Joe Tooney's settled in to tackle. I think they got the cornerback, Watson. So there's a lot of people getting healthy, and it's the playoffs. So everything that was true about them not being ready for the moment the first time they played Kansas City is even more true now. But they have a second opportunity to go up there, and they should have a mindset of like, hey, fuck it. Who cares? Like, we could be – what a joke that would be for us to be in the AFC Championship.
Right?
Like, how hilarious would that be? As poorly as we played with a negative 100-something point differential, people writing us off for dead. I ain't saying they're going to win the game, but there were moments in that first game – one for sure after the Tank Dell injury where they're midfield and Schultz drops the ball and they're not ready to take the opportunity to go down and take a lead. They got to be more ready for their opportunities, and I think defensively with Al-Shaair back and Harris back, that helps them a great deal. But they have to be more ready. They look like a team that was not ready, and they were playing a team that's been there a million times, and that should be even more true in the playoffs. But it's the playoffs. You just never know.
Isn't it crazy that the Texans, all they needed was one drive in Week 18 to get right? One drive against the Titans.
Yep. They needed one drive.
One
drive. And what you really
need
sometimes as a team is the clock to start over. To just say, hey, well, all that shit is irrelevant now. Yep. We're seeded. It's one football game at a time. And the thing that makes the NFL great is anybody can win any week. I mean, pretty much. It feels like except the Steelers, right? But I do think they figured something out from a mindset standpoint, and then at the same time got Al-Shaair back. That helps a lot.
Well, I want to give on defense. I want to give them a shout out for their run defense, man.
Yeah.
Like you kind of knew that. Like we all know who Harbaugh is. Okay, we know what they're trying to do with 21 personnel, 22 personnel. We know that they have one offensive weapon in McCarthy, who played great as a rookie. He had 200 yards. Like this fucking white Irish dude has the the most receptions in playoff history, or the most yards in playoff history. But Dobbins and Edwards had 26 yards and 22 yards.
What is the stat?
He had the most yards in a game as a rookie wide receiver.
Okay, that's wild.
We got there.
Okay, we got there. I just want to make sure.
Still better than your ad read, my guy.
I think he's confused with Jerry Rice.
But no, Dobbins and Edwards had 26 yards, 22 yards. They could not get the ball going in the run game, and that's why I think part of the reason Herbert was so uncomfortable, man. It's like if they get their run game going, It's a different animal for them. They're just moving the chains.
But they can't.
No, they
And you
can't.
know,
But they just haven't when it's mattered.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Right? And they play physical teams, and they're supposed to be physical. They go lose to the
But that's
the
not a
Steelers.
team that can turn the ball over.
No
Like,
question.
The Chargers can't. They're not built like that.
But they should be able to run the ball, don't you think?
Yes.
Isn't it kind of it's kind of, and I think part of it is like, hey, nobody's outside, like, beat us running the ball. But that team, like, the offensive line's and they were bad in protection. They gave a bunch of pressures and free runners, and Will Anderson and Hunter, like, just ate. But, like, they should be able to run the ball, Bo.
They should be, but they didn't, and then they lost.
But there's been a lot of moments like that for them this year.
I know. But I mean, okay, let's take a macro look at the Chargers really quickly. A lot of new shit going on for them, okay? I like Harbaugh. I think that he's going to be successful there. I think if they get – imagine if they get T. Higgins. If they get one big playmaking wide receiver and then they get their – like they kind of run the offense and they run the organization, the team the way that Harbaugh wants to, I think it's good. I think that I think Harbaugh probably exceeded expectations this year.
He certainly did. But in my opinion, maybe Herbert getting hurt like threw off the development of how they wanted to get in the passing game. But the run game to me, especially when you get Greg Roman is the coordinator, has to be better.
Agreed.
The irony is, maybe this speaks to the quarterback, that the best thing they did this year was pass the football, and they had nobody outside, and they've got guys up front, and they've got running backs. One of them was averaging 9 yards a carry for like a couple weeks, and you've got this guy that's like the architect of the biggest smash mouth football teams in this century, and they can't smash the football. Like, it's just not part of who they ended up being this year. And Chargers are ahead of schedule. Nobody in this room picked them to go to the playoffs. I didn't pick them to go to the playoffs. And quite frankly, if you're saying Justin Herbert is trash or he's done, I just disagree with you. But he certainly whiffed at this opportunity, albeit an opportunity that was an uphill battle. That was going to be an uphill climb. Had he won this game, great. And, maybe part of it is like, hey, fuck it, I'm going out on my sword. And that's why he made some of those really bad throws late. 4 sounds terrible. 4 is just a lot of interceptions. Had it been a 2-pick game, we might be saying, hey, all he had was Lab McConkey. But 4 just makes it sound really bad. And it's one that, like, the game tape isn't frozen in time where everybody's like remembers the context of the performance. We're going to be talking about 4 picks. And now, on top of it, you've got a blown 27-point lead. Right. So nobody thinks about the context of those two. He's going to have to dig himself out of this hole. Yeah. He's good enough to do it, and I believe eventually he will. But for the people that hate him, I'm not even going to, hey, you got it this year.
Long off season for him. Yeah. Long off season.
Long off season.
4 picks, man.
But I think he's got it in him. I think Harbaugh's got it in him. Harbaugh, the quote was, and I love this, favorite football team I've ever been on. He's on the football team.
Yeah. Love it.
That's right. He wears cleats and gloves, man. He's out there.
Do you think he secretly, there's a theory I have that he doesn't know he's the coach. He thinks he's a player on the team, and they give him a headset, and he's got to make coaches' decisions. But he's a player in his mind. But yeah, just a really tough one. But Derwin James stood up for him. Khalil Mack stood up for him. Khalil Mack might not play football anymore. He said he might be done. And I don't want to see that because, hey, Khalil, you're still incredible.
Yes.
And the game's better with you in it, bro. But for a guy that doesn't have to say that, the guys in that locker room, I'm pretty sure Derwin James knows more than you about that quarterback. And he thinks he's going to be damn good and stood up for him. So disappointing day, but a big win for C.J. Stroud. I'm super excited for him, shifting gears. Another guy we love in here. And, hey, we'll see, man. I love an underdog story. Like, maybe you never know.
Bro, I got this new hat. I will eat it if the Texans make it.
You'll eat the whole hat?
You eat the whole hat? Or
well, turns out I don't have to run down the sidewalk naked because the Steelers didn't win.
I'll eat a portion of it.
I just bet Harrison Butker to be reading The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That's funny as
That's
fuck.
a good one. Game ball.
Who's
Game ball?
Yeah.
To my brother from another mother.
I think Tyrese
Collins.
Oh yeah.
He had a huge game for Houston, and I think if we are going to see them advance next week, he's probably going to have the same type of game, if not better.
For sure.
If not better.
And Joe Mixon ran the ball. They got to run the football. It was a tough 100 yards, but he got a hundo.
Look, and I want to say this. Houston, stop trying to get fucking cute. Like, just let Mixon run the ball. Like, he fumbled after.
Talk directly in the camera to Bobby
listen,
Slowick, please.
You guys, stop being cute. You have a running back that is capable of getting yards. You don't need to have him trying to make a pass. Like, it's the playoffs. Stop with the bullshit. Hand the ball off to him.
Oh, yeah.
Or let C.J. Stroud throw the ball.
Pittsburgh down 7-0, like they have a fuck ton of fucking downs to work with against the Ravens, and they do a flea flicker,
Like,
bro.
why- like,
and everybody's
why
just
now?
like, what are you doing,
Like,
dude?
why? Like, why now?
Why ever?
I
Why
I
ever?
get it.
Dude,
Sometimes-
New Orleans had a couple throwbacks at the end of the season. I'm pretty sure they're
But-
just inspiring people.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a sequence like that one earlier in the fourth when it was Will Anderson unblocked sack, Edwards unblocked sack, Herbert seed to McCarthy for 86 yards,
It was wild.
extra point
That was,
block
that was wild.
up in the air.
Oh, dude, I forgot about that.
that
I didn't
was
even
the
talk
crazy-
about
Bro,
that.
and the
Place he was ever
fucking
seen.
total was 43, dude.
Yeah.
The total was 43. It had no business getting that high.
Oh,
And then the guy bats the ball down, and everybody's like, "Oh,
Hollow
the
man.
play's over."
Hollow Man, Cameron Dicker.
Yeah.
If anyone on the field should know the special teams rules,
Talking to the
it
camera
has
directly
to
to
be,
Cameron Dicker.
it has to be the kicker,
Fucking-
Cameron Dicker. Like, how? If anyone
Address
doesn't
him.
know, if anyone doesn't like is supposed to know the rules, it has to be you.
Cameron Dicker,
It
you've
has
been
to be the
addressed.
kicker and the punter. They should know every single special teams rule up and down, and that specifically.
The play's not over, guys. That's what you say as soon as you knock it down because nobody fucking knew.
Man,
Speaking of books, you know what Tyreek would be reading?
No, what?
Ayn Rand. Because then you never have to go back on the field because all her books are like 1,000 pages, right?
True.
That's a teacher joke for you. You know, trying to get mad
but
involved.
what about Jalen Hurts with the
Nobody
what-
gets that joke.
What about Jalen
You
Hurts
illiterate
with the
fuck.
hate? What about Jalen Hurts with the hate, bro? Saying that he's never seen him reading it. So it's not.
He
about
said that?
reading. Yeah, he's like He's like I seen him with the book, but I've never actually.
There are pictures.
like-
Someone went back and found some pictures of him in like week 11 or something on the sideline reading the same book.
What happened in week 11?
I don't remember.
What was week 11? That's what we have to
Let's
find
see.
out.
I think he had a good game that game though. That's what he had posted. He was like, yeah, like run with the narrative. This game I had this many targets and blah blah, blah and this many. He had good stats. So he's saying you.
I'm
guys
not
are
trying to
running.
narrative A.J. Brown. I just think it's funny.
It is funny.
It is funny.
The thought of
That's
doing
what
that
it
would
is.
never cross my mind in a million years. On game day, reading a book.
The thought of reading a self-help book in public.
Bro,
Like,
literally.
like, here's the deal. I wouldn't read a self-help book on the subway or in an airport or in a city park. Good on A.J. Brown to be like, hey, I'm on fucking national TV, and I'm going to let
or-
people know I'm not okay.
or he
That's
watches,
big of him.
He watched Varsity Blues the other night, and he wanted to do the same thing.
Oh, the book,
remember the backup quarterback?
Yeah.
Kilmer catches him reading the book
Mm-hmm.
on the bench.
What kind of book is Antonio Brown reading on the sidelines?
Oh, my
Just a fucking coloring book with crayons.
I'm trying to think what he would be reading. I'm trying to think what Antonio Brown would be reading. I'm trying to be careful.
yeah.
All right. So next,
Real fast.
speaking of Antonio Brown, the Steelers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steelers.
What do you need me to do?
No.
Nice little segue.
No. I was going to ask a question, but it's all good. It's
That's a
Fox
dope
Steelers.
jacket, bro.
Dax got it for me.
It's an incredible.
Oh.
It
Yeah.
was a thrift find. I
Oh,
seen
let's
it
go.
thrifting, and I was just like, I got to get this for my guy Reed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
Sports
amazing.
Illustrated. But Ravens ran all over the Steelers, 28-14.
Yeah, no question. Listen, I think in this game, it was pretty apparent to me early that the thing we thought might happen wasn't going to happen, which is that Pittsburgh could muddy it up. They just like when you give up a 90+ yard drive to that team
Yeah.
to start the game off
was
like
good.
that, and you get them in 3rd and 13 in the red zone. It's just too easy. And the one thing I would say, and maybe y'all can push back on this, but like, I understand you want to see Lamar use his full tool kit, but 8-10 quarterback runs in the first half is too much.
I don't think you need it yet.
What?
against that team.
Yeah, I
that
agree.
team, you're gonna beat that team.
Yes.
You
And
think
maybe-
too much?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, how many games are left, guys?
Yeah, but you got to look at the, you know.
Did you hear the announcers talking about they were checking on an injury he had on the
Yeah, it
sideline
was
like
throughout
his
the first
ribs
half?
or
Now, I'm not.
They just said torso. Checking his torso.
All you have to do to be proven right on that assertion is hear that. You know what I mean?
I got you.
Because you're taking a chance, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, hey, listen, I'm all about, hey, Lamar, you see man coverage. Lamar, you see an edge rusher take an inside move, tuck that thing for 30.
Yeah.
And, hey, on 3rd and 3 or 4th and 2 in key situations, but to come out of the gate, it seemed like they were almost making a point. And maybe it was to soften the edge players so they could run the football, right? You know, give you something to really think about, like, oh, shit, we really have to defend quarterback run. Because that's a mystery coming to the game. You don't know what flavor they're going to give you of the run game. And
I love the Wildcat with Derrick Henry back there getting this.
boy, the movement on that.
So great, and then they let him fake the handoff. It's like thinking about preparing for that offense and like the stuff that they can realistically do or have in their back pocket has to be absolutely like it has to suck for a D coordinator just to be like thinking about what ifs.
He's always got an extra guy. You always got an extra guy, and the guy happens to be one of the best football players on
MVP
the
of the
planet.
league.
Man,
I mean, like, it's just so, you know, like, if I had to really, we should just compliment the fuck out of the Ravens for doing exactly what they came to do, which is put this game out of reach early and then be conservative late and let Pittsburgh kind of flirt with getting back in it and Russell throw enough deep balls so that he can stand at the podium after the game and say, hey, I can't wait to be back. Like, excited about the future. I got a lot of good football left in me, or whatever he said. That team.
Nah.
Oh yeah, Pickens, bro.
Did your old teammate play?
Who?
I think they were looking for him. TJ Watt.
Oh, dude, actually, it's funny you bring that up. That's my STL memorial. Is Roger? What's his name? Roger Rosengarten.
Oh, I was about to
The
say
right tackle
Zero.
played really well. He was in that clip with getting Myles Garrett's jersey.
Yep.
He was like pretty cool, humble guy. Like,
I'm a
I
nobody.
know you don't know who I am. It's like, yeah, dude, you just played against this guy all game. He definitely knows who you are. But he's like, I'm a nobody. He held TJ Watt to 0 stats.
And
Clean sheet.
Greenlight fans knew him because Chris was singing his praises at least in pass
I'm
protection.
the
not as
fucking
much
reason
about
he's in
running
the game,
protection in,
besides the
week
fact that he's
2
good.
or 3, right?
He's played
Yeah.
he played a great game. That's my STL memorial. I think he deserves some love, man.
Well, I said that shit on Inside the NFL, and then somebody I know was like, I guess they were listening to you. Somebody in the, so I was like, oh, I felt very powerful. I hope this kid doesn't fuck it up.
He didn't.
Not that I just, but I felt like my name was on the line a little bit because I was like, they need to put this guy in.
Ooh,
Like, he's gonna be good.
Yeah.
The Ravens,
And he's been pretty good. He's been pretty good.
who's the Ravens owners? Maybe their kids, instead of using Madden,
You're talking
they
about
use
Scotty?
Yeah.
Greenlight.
they use podcasts to scout their own players. They listen to podcasts. You know how the Jets they listen they listen to the Madden.
I don't think that's the
rating?
case. I think they played Max Crosby and McCarthy, who's a good football player and can play inside. They were like, oh man, if we want to throw the ball this year without yellow flags everywhere and that sort of thing, we need to put a pass protector in. And he's been pretty good.
Yeah.
He makes them competitive out there. And I thought the left side of the line really caved the Steelers. Falele,
That's a big boy.
that's a big man. And
164 in the first half on the ground.
How do you
This-
defend
this-
it though? It's impossible.
I don't know.
you know what sucks about the Steelers? It feels to me like they're in a part of the build where they should be better, right? Like, you have veterans
Yeah.
like TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward, who's played great this year, and you kind of waste all that talent, and the defense ends up not playing that well down the stretch. Like,
Yeah.
I think they really need another corner.
Well, what do you do it-
Really need
this.
another.
I hate to do this
What?
to my guy, but like maybe Sean Payton was right, and like Russ isn't necessarily elite, and I feel like the way the Steelers are built from top to bottom, you kind of need an elite quarterback. I feel like that defense is a defense. If they have a 7-point lead or if they have a lead, they can really do damage and like really muddy games up.
Yeah.
But they don't have that right now. They don't have a consistent guy that or just stay off the field a little bit. Like stay on the field as an offense and get some long drives, even if they end in field goals. You have a field goal kicker that's like amazing, but they just didn't have that this year.
He just and they can't. It's not just him. I don't want to just make this
No, not just
but
Russ.
it's they don't have a lot of like intermediate winners. It's Pickens,
Yeah.
who's not going to be there very long, right? And he's gonna make somebody very happy.
Yeah, he is.
Because that motherfucker can play football, but he's got to get his head on straight.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of winners, and in the intermediate levels. And then I also don't think their tight ends really. You don't get a lot out of them. Like there was a play early in the game when Washington stuck Freiermuth on like a 3rd and 2 at the 30, and you're down 7-0. I knew when they punted that like this was it. Like you got to pick that up and you got to go. Like it's 4th and an inch or 2. You fucking go. You burn the ships. You're not as good as this team, and Freiermuth's got to pick that up. Like Washington's 300 pounds, man. So, guy's a good blocker, but they haven't really used him as a receiver big time.
Yeah.
Freiermuth's supposed to be the big receiver, but he hasn't been like a dynamic guy for them and can't block enough to where I'm like, yeah, good to have him in the core. The offensive line, which you've invested in, has shown improvement, but it's still not a great group, right? And Russell Wilson is older, and when he was great in Seattle, it was very dependent on a great run game. Like you talk about Marshon Lynch
defense.
and a great defense, LOB. And they didn't just have one deep ball guy. They had multiple guys who could get open, who could stretch the field, who could work underneath. And they were really tough. And another thing about him is now Russ, and he can't control this, he's not 25 anymore. So the one part of his game that really suffers is his mobility, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I watch him break the pocket or roll.
See him get hawked down by Matabike?
Yes.
Matabike had 2 sacks. He fucking hawked him.
But think about this. For an offense that really ideally would love to move the pocket,
Yeah.
especially against a Ravens team that is very crafty on the edge and like very cagey and have athletes on the edge.
And vets too, like Van Noy.
You've got guys like Owe who can take 4 steps and he's going to be on you. Van Noy's seen it all. You can't just you can't roll him out. You can't move him. And when he would try to scramble, there were multiple opportunities in this game where I feel like old Russ picks up a first down or really hurts you with his legs. It's just his legs aren't there anymore.
Yeah,
and so that's a part of his game that matters.
Right.
I'm not
thinking
saying
on
it's
it,
all running.
Okay, like, it was a big decision at the time for Tomlin to go with Russ over Justin Fields. I don't think it was a mistake.
No, it wasn't a mistake. It put them in position to go to the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't think it was a mistake. The Steelers slid at the back half of the year. They lose 5 games in a row? Or something like that?
Yeah,
I don't think
the playoff.
Yeah, I don't think that they would be in a better position with Justin Fields.
No, I don't think
really
so
don't.
either. But again, if we're talking about the future, that kind of colors in the conversation.
Yeah. I love
like-
Russ. I played with him in Wisconsin. I don't think he has a future in Pittsburgh.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
But that's not to say they might not bring him back because this organization seems to be okay with the status quo.
Yeah.
Post Ben Roethlisberger, they haven't won a playoff game in like a decade.
Yeah.
Last playoff game they won was 2016, they beat somebody before we beat them when I was in New England. It feels like a million years ago.
Yeah.
I know
which is part of the reason. Again, it's like you said the Mike Tomlin thing. Like if Mike Tomlin wasn't in Pittsburgh, everybody would be jumping at him.
Yes.
And last year I was very resistant to talk about like the future without him, but I kind of wonder what people would like. What would have, and it's hard to remove his history from the conversation, but put this little era in a vacuum, and would another coach have the kind of leeway?
You think
It's
the grass will be
obvious.
greener?
It's
I don't.
huh?
I
Do
think
you
that
think the grass will be greener if they
no.
got
I don't think.
I don't
they should
necessarily
move
think
on
so.
from Tomlin.
Yeah, me.
I'm not saying move
That's what I'm
on.
saying. That's why it sucks. Like when you're a fan and like obviously you want your team to move past the hump, but you have to sometimes take a step back and be like, okay, if we do get rid of him, like how does that look, or how long are you willing to wait?
And
for it
I'm
to
not
get
saying
back?
I would never be the one to say, hey, Mike Tomlin's got to go. But there is noise about whether it's just bullshit created by like Mike Florio or whatever. But people are talking about the prospect of trading for him or something. Like there are teams that I bet like imagine him in New Orleans, like a fresh start, little hole to dig out of, long leash. Mickey Loomis, who's been there for a while, like
Great food.
like great food. Cap hell. But like it's a fun exercise. Probably not fun for Mike Tomlin, but to talk about like would somebody trade for a head coach? I'm only saying it because it's out there. I'm not saying it's real. But I am saying if you're a Steelers fan,
What if the Cowboys traded for him and sent Mike McCarthy to
He's
They
gone.
can't trade McCarthy. He's a free agent.
yeah, they just
Oh,
we gotta get
yeah.
to McCarthy.
They just shit canned him.
They shit
well,
canned.
they missed that chance.
Yeah.
I just think that like the last playoff win being in 2016 is just so interesting because if you can like take the Steelers out of it for a second and just say like, hey, thought experiment, X franchise hasn't won a playoff game since 2016. How many head coaching changes?
That's my
do you
point.
think
That's
it's
my
just,
point.
You know, like,
and it's impossible to remove the context of who Mike
Right.
Tomlin is and the immense respect that we all have for him, and the quickness with which somebody would scoop him up, and I wouldn't blame him.
Right.
But I do believe sometimes in the NFL there is a staleness,
yeah,
right? And I also think like when you're in different phases of your program, like right now, I don't know what phase they would call this.
right.
Like I don't know what phase.
Status quo.
I don't know. So like,
Purgatory.
Yeah.
huh?
Purgatory. They're in
Yeah,
quarterback.
it
Just-
kind of feels that
just
way
Good enough.
because they've kind of rolled the dice on veteran quarterbacks and that sort of thing. They've never been bad enough to pick up high, so you really are just playing Russian roulette with quarterbacks.
Yeah.
If you're the
And-
Steelers, do you do Russell, Justin Fields, free agent, or find someone in the draft?
And I'm not shitting on this very binary poll because I saw it, and that's what a poll is for. But I can't say that unless the Steelers just got Justin Fields, right? If Justin Fields is a possibility next year, you got to see him for an offseason. I want to see if he develops. So do I like taking a flyer on keeping him on the roster? Absolutely. As a trade chip, whatever. But as a gadget guy, as like your backup quarterback, but I do think he's got to develop a little bit. If you had to make the decision today and we were just going to skip into next season, I'd say spin the wheel and give me somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? And I'd say, hey, get something for Justin Fields, but that's not the reality we live in. This is going to be an off season. We talk about this thing for a while.
If they get rid of Russell Wilson in New York green, that might be nice.
Oh, at the Jets?
Yeah.
You would
That would be a
put
fucking
evil on that?
bloodbath.
Huh?
That'd be bad.
You think so?
It'd be worse.
What-
It'd be worse
that
than Aaron.
he's better than DTR. He can win that starting spot.
Dude, and I'm not here. This is the problem with doing the quarterback thing. Everybody's like, oh, you guys are shitting on Russell. Russell's a veteran quarterback. What? What has he got? What's he doing?
You said DTR?
Who is DTR?
You don't know who DTR is?
No.
That's on you then. You're laughing. You don't know what you're
Cleveland Browns
Cleveland Browns.
quarterback.
Yeah.
quarterback.
Dorian
Yeah.
Thompson Robinson.
You got to say his full name.
Yeah.
Bo was
Yeah,
also slamming high noons till 1 in the morning last night.
I didn't know DTR was the. was
I think it's a good answer. I think the question is a good answer to the question.
Who is
That's why I asked
DTR?
that.
Yeah. Well, no, I just think like with Russ, it's like,
I'm a
man,
Jay
like
Boo
we're not
guy.
saying the guy's trash, but to be like, that's the one thing about the quarterback position. You can be mid and keep playing in the NFL for a long
Yeah, you
time.
just got to find the right spot.
Because you got to find the right spot, and there's also like they rotate defensive linemen in. You know, you can be a nickel corner, you can have some specialty, or you could be, a guard or something like that. but you're no shade. But what I'm saying is, quarterbacks, you get one fucking. You're either the reason or not for most teams.
So you're either a quarterback or you're Taysom Hill. No in between.
No, I mean, it's just like, okay, we could do the Steelers, we could do the Russ thing again, and there's going to be people that are like, after what he showed for that stretch, he also lost 5 games in a row down the stretch.
The
And so did
only
the head coach. It's not unfair to talk about any of this stuff.
I think
Like,
you keep one of them. You keep Justin Fields or Russell, and you try to draft somebody or acquire somebody in free agency.
You
The only-
try to finesse someone for a trade. Keep them and try to finesse someone for a trade.
who are you talking about, Russ?
Yeah, maybe.
Just start keeping a bunch of quarterbacks just in case
Just-
somebody needs one.
Bro, like
It's like you're like a doomsday prepper. You really,
Stockpiling.
yeah.
Yep.
I can't wait to barter these
cornered
quarterbacks
the
in a post-apocalyptic
quarterback
America. There's going to be people like, I need some Russell Wilson, running up to my fucking bunker. I'll give you Justin Fields for a gold bar and an AK. Like, I don't know that these guys are going to be in high demand, but I do kind of like, I like the idea of not giving up on Justin Fields' development,
And maybe-
what was that it pertain, because I know what the Russ ceiling is.
Maybe Pittsburgh should look at the GM, Omar Khan. Everybody's talking about Mike Tomlin. Like, the one high quarterback pick that the Steelers made was 2 years ago, and they took Kenny Pickett in the first round, and they're off of him 2 years later for late round picks.
No question. I mean, fuck, there's a lot of finger pointing that can go around in a situation like this. But I think Nolan's question, what I was hinting at, is central. If you heard about a team and you didn't say which one, in the NFL that hadn't won a playoff game in 10 years and finished with 5 losses in a row. I'm just being real. I'm not saying I want Tomlin gone, but what I'm saying is like we would be talking about this with anybody else. And maybe that's part of it is like he is Mike Tomlin. Yeah. And that's the thing that makes it tricky about coaches. When players fuck up, players are old or injured or they lost it. When coaches fuck up, you're kind of like, well, that guy's still in there. That brain's still healthy. You know what I mean? He's still Mike Tomlin. He can turn this thing around. It's the same thing I feel about with Bill. I'm like, Bill's gonna.
He got the suds.
He's gonna crush it at UNC, but
Tomlin got the suds right now.
What's the suds?
it's like
what's the DPR?
SpongeBob.
It's SpongeBob. It's like the sickness and
yeah.
When you're sick.
My kids love SpongeBob
now.
now.
Like when he's cold, that picture with that beanie on is just so funny.
Chris,
Me.
Yeah. Chris, do you feel optimistic about the future of the Steelers?
That's such a what?
This is
do you
what you're
mean?
supposed to say. Nah.
No, you're supposed to say the standard is the standard.
I'm sorry to say
Standard is
this. I'm
standard.
sorry to say this, but I want to say that he didn't understand what the word optimistic meant.
No.
Are you caping for him in that?
I am.
No.
I
You-
am.
What?
I am. What do you mean what?
He doesn't know what the word optimistic means?
No, like why is that hard to believe? To believe?
I don't know. Does he have a third grade reading level?
I think he's smart.
The way he answered that question.
He said he didn't know what
He
optimistic
paused.
means.
He
Nah,
Hey, we were laughing our ass off about that interview last night.
I
We were
was
just watching it over and over in the car.
bro.
Nah.
Bro, when I get bored and I want to laugh, I just go to like when he's getting drafted, the way he was standing with that shiesty on so close to the TV, just like looking, bro, it's just so funny. The thought of him doing that with all his family and friends that are probably in the background, just like look at him, look at him.
Who could we that's hilarious, but who could we I'm just stuck thinking about I want to save Mike Tomlin, not that he's like under fire, but like who could we if we're the Steelers, let's be the Steelers for a second. What veteran quarterback is out there that you're like, oh, we can go give something up for this guy, or he's going to be a free agent?
Veteran quarterback?
Yeah, like how about like or a 2 like
Derrick
that
Carr?
somewhere else? I ain't doing that.
No.
I love Derrick, but
I mean, Redhead did all right.
Andy Dalton,
Yeah. Red Rock.
Firecrotch did a good job.
Red Rocket. That red hair looked terrible in the
That's hate.
Steelers jersey.
That's hate. What?
I think
His hair could never look terrible, but maybe in yellow and black. Yeah,
but
Do you-
he's got great lettuce.
Mac Jones, did he play well enough?
No,
no.
I know how much
We don't
you
want
hate him,
any.
but Still,
Bar the door, Megan.
What about the Pastronaut?
I got some Mac Jones out here. Open the bunker.
Joe Milton.
Oh,
Oh,
he did a backflip off his vert for a first touchdown as a quarterback.
I say you open it up and just
Love that.
bring in 4 low value. What's kind of what they did this year.
Dude, just do it all over again.
Just do it all over again with different quarterbacks. If they're not gonna, if what you're saying is like, no, we're just gonna stay the course, then you might as well do it in the way that's most advantageous, or you got the best chance of hitting on one at when you're picking at 17 or 20 every year.
Ooh, I know who you can go. I know who you
Spin
can
the
go.
fucking wheel, man.
I know who you can go get.
Tanner McKee.
It'll be hard to do this, but
Tanner McKee.
poke the bear. Tell Kirk Cousins, come start.
Nah, that
start.
Allegheny fescue up there would eat his Achilles alive, dude. The fucking grass in that stadium at Acrisure.
Oh man, Kurt! Hey, Kurt, come start, man. You're
Acrisure.
gonna be on that bench for a long time behind that young stud. You're gonna be on the bench for a long time.
I don't think he has a long time.
I know, so got to get out of there now.
I don't know where the landing is for Kirk. I think it might be Shova.
Cleveland.
Damn, I hope not.
Respectfully to my dog Kirk, who I got a lot of respect for. Let me say that again. But it just doesn't feel like he's going to have another like real
he's had
capital
that-
O opportunity.
Yeah, true.
I think people have learned enough from the spinning the wheel on, hey, a Hall of Fame type quarterback and Matt Ryan. That didn't work out right. Bringing him to Indy. Like, Indy has done this thing over and over again. Pittsburgh's now doing this thing.
But Flacco's still doing it.
Everybody's enamored with the, hey, it worked for Brady. It worked for – I think it's got to be like you got to get somebody early. You got to find a diamond in the rough. You can't go after, like, the older guy anymore.
they're going to go get Zach Wilson, and him and George Pickens are going to be the best buddy tandem in the NFL that nobody expected.
Buddy cops.
Yeah, dude.
Buddy cops.
I like that.
Zach Wilson's going to show up to a press conference in week 6 in a shiesty mask.
No, he's going to show up to a press conference in a Cougars vehicle. He's going to be driving him to work. Isn't that Zach Wilson that used to? It feels like a long time ago.
Yeah.
I can see him and Pickens running twos.
Yeah. What?
Running twos, like picking up some milfs.
Oh,
I've never heard that.
what is that a word for?
Running twos.
What's a running twos?
Like a two-man. Like if we're going to pick up girls together.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like
Well, I've been out the game for a long time, dude. I'm very married.
I've never heard that.
Running twos.
I'm fucking with it, bro. That's wild.
Somebody mentioned Drew Lock in the damn
in
the damn chat. I think it's gonna be. I think you open up a tryout. You just you pay guys to come in and just you can't do that anyways. But they got to get creative, man.
Yeah.
If they're gonna keep doing this, they got to get creative.
I think Mariota is also a name, but I think he'd be still in your too much of a hamster wheel type feel.
No, for sure. Don't forget about Tanner McKee. Don't forget about Malik Willis. We're not done with Malik Willis.
Why do you do Mariota like that?
They have to trade out the first
because
round
it's the
this
same
year.
thing. It's like we kind of know
We
what
tried
the
it in
ceiling is.
Atlanta.
Like, and that's not to say, hey, there's a lot
yeah.
of pride you can take in being a 30-plus-year-old quarterback in the NFL. Like, incredible. You're one of the best quarterbacks.
But even if you're picking someone, you're hoping on like that second win, right? You're hoping on they might catch a late second win for.
No, I'm not after the late. I want the early second win.
No,
That's where I'm going now. The Baker Mayfields, the Sam Darnolds, the maybe not Carson Wentz's, but that kind of thing.
Yo, yeah, Sam. They could get Sam because I mean, what if JJ?
They'll probably franchise him.
Who they can franchise?
Vikings,
No, I know,
yeah.
but that would be a fun thought experiment.
I think so too. But
No, I'm done
all we
thinking
need-
about
all
it.
We need all we need is JJ,
And I think it's
to come
Tanner
out
McKee.
hot. And if he has a crazy ass camp next year, they're gonna be done with Sam.
Just watch.
Darnold.
Real fast, one thing for the Ravens that they've done really well against quality opponents, and it's something we can keep an eye on going into the next week's game against the Bills. They finished the regular season tied for second most penalties committed, but in the Steelers and the Texans games in December, they combined for 5 penalties, and then Saturday only 3 penalties.
No, they're
so
cleaning
when
it up.
Yes,
They're playing their best ball.
when they play
That's why we
top tier opponents, their penalties take a dive.
Listen, there's nobody in the league that you want to put it like a scary index. They're fucking scary. The Ravens are scary.
Yeah.
Like, good luck tackling that big SOB, and if you're lucky enough to get third down, good luck with that guy.
Right.
Yep.
And, the defense, as we've said, has just played better and better all year. Like, little tweaks they've made. This Washington kid's played really well for them since he's played a lot more ball. Kyle Hamilton, we talk about moving him into more of a position that he's consistently okay with, comfortable in. I feel like what they've gotten done with Kyle Van Noy up front has been amazing this year. Guy had a career season, veteran. Owe Matabike coming on as the season goes on. Like, this team's tough, man. And I think this Buffalo game is going to be incredible. We'll talk more about that later in the week.
And shout out to Lamar Jackson's mom and agent, who he is now 5-0 since she cussed him out. So shout out to her. Motivation. Got her son playing the best football at the right time. I love it.
That kid from you would think the Notre Dame quarterback would be a lot better because his mom tells him he sucks.
Riley
Leonard.
That old,
By the way, that Ohio State game's going to be Ohio State Notre Dame. What's that going to be like? 31-17 if they score that much.
Who?
Ohio State Notre Dame.
But who?
Ohio State
27-20.
27-20. I hope it's close.
Fuck Ohio State.
Okay.
Eight and a
State's
half.
Favorite 8.5.
Yep.
Yeah.
8.5. All right, and the last one.
But they lost to Michigan, though. I heard like
Notre Dame lost to Eastern Illinois.
I heard nothing good it can ever happen with Ohio State if they lose to Michigan.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
If they just,
I don't know. I don't know the rules as much as some college football watchers, but let's hit the Bills and then we'll talk about some of the coaching changes and get out of here. But
Hit those Bills.
let's hit the Bills. Not too hard though. We need them next week because they play the Ravens and that is going to be incredible. But I just felt like
Bills
in this
send us
game,
tickets. We'll come.
honestly, my wife on the way home.
Yeah.
She said she wanted.
Did you hear that?
Bro, I as soon as she said that, I was like, I was staring right at you.
I was like, oh yeah.
I was like, I've actually never played that stadium, Mag. It's one of the few ones I didn't get to play at.
We were flying home.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how great a game it's going to be, and Meg was like, you should go.
24 degrees with snow expected.
That's the experience. That's the experience.
What day is that game going to be? Do we know?
Chris,
Sunday
if
at 6:30.
we go, you have to jump.
What day is the Eagles game?
It's Sunday at 3.
See, we just did the Eagles. You know, and I feel like naturally. It's
He
like
said that
yesterday
to
when I
you?
dapped up Dontavian Wicks on the way into the locker room. Like a couple Eagles fans were like, "Oh, like I'm sorry, I know the guy, and I want to go to see a Bills playoff game, so maybe I'll be there this weekend." But fans in Buffalo, what do you got for us?
Buffalo.
And I love Airbnb, but Matt.
I know the
said
area
it
better
that
now.
way.
I know where to look for an Airbnb.
But
I thought downtown
bro,
Buffalo would be
honestly,
fun.
I feel like I feel like anywhere, like I just feel like for Buffalo fans, they'll be so excited that like everywhere in Buffalo, this is probably a lie, don't take this advice, will be safe and jovial for the game. Like after the game, if
Yeah.
it goes wrong,
Yeah.
then I would be a little scared about what's going on.
Oh, if they
But
lose,
before
we're
the
getting in
game-
the car and driving down to the nearest airport.
Exactly.
No, I want to get drunk at
Bar-Bill.
Bar-Bill.
But also
Some
Jim
wings.
Kelly's favorite Italian restaurant. I really want to get back there too. I really like that place.
The back room after a win in the game, probably.
Which we'd obviously be in. He's put himself in the back room of the Jim Kelly's restaurant. He thinks really, but no, I would love to go up to see the Bills play.
Bills Mafia.
Anyways,
Table.
what's the line on that
Oh.
game going to be? What is
It
it?
has moved multiple times. This morning it was Bills -1, and right now,
It's going to the
since I
Ravens.
last looked, it was Ravens
It's
-1.
going to the Ravens.
Wow.
Ooh.
It's going to the Ravens. It's a little nerve wracking, especially considering we're going up there.
When's the last time there's been like a pick'em game? I'm just waiting for that.
Can this one could end up there, or you
Like-
can
Yeah.
probably bet it at a pick 'em at certain
Yeah, it
time.
might. Yeah.
I'd want to ask Cowboy Reed how he feels about this Broncos season in
Great.
general.
Great. Everyone was like, "Oh, 5 wins." Macon was over there. "Oh, you suck. You suck. Bo Nick sucks.
Yeah.
Doesn't suck."
And what did I say?
at all.
I said, we'll
I
see.
was like 9 wins.
Yeah. Nate was on the bandwagon. Now he's off of it. We're
bandwagon.
doing even better.
No, you're not. I got off just
You got off before we made the playoffs, and then we made the playoffs. But no, I'm feeling great. A little history for
Dax
you.
took the money and ran.
A little history for you. John Elway's rookie season. They
Oh, we're
were,
doing this thing?
They were wild card.
Yes, I love this.
They lost to the Seahawks 31-7.
I love the way they
Oh, wow.
take Peyton
And then what
Manning
happened?
31-7.
Yeah,
Like the
and
same score.
then hey,
Then
next
what happened?
season 13-3.
Listen,
Wait, 13
14
3
years
what?
later, a Super Bowl.
Oh, did they win the Super Bowl?
No. They didn't win the Super Bowl for a while later. But still, we went
Sometime.
13-3.
so basically
dope.
you're not going to win a Super Bowl for another.
That's totally fine. If we,
37.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
the clock
If we
started
go,
though.
So you're
Yeah.
excited for
Yeah.
3 more wins next year, basically.
Oh
That's
hell
what you're
yeah!
saying. Okay.
Oh, that feels a
For
lot
sure.
different, doesn't it? 13 wins.
Versus last 7 years of just bullshit.
Yeah, you're allowed.
You
you're
can
not-
swear on
Yeah,
the
in
You're a
in
logical, you're a logical fan.
no, fuck no.
Okay.
There he is.
I thought maybe like one of your parents shut you down. 'Cause
No,
you're
no.
Bull.
No, my mom was rewatching the Hangover episode a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was like, "Oh,
That's so good. You were struggling. But I watched this back last night because obviously I was drunk tailgating while I was watching it, and just decided to put a lot of money on the Bills. And boy, did it pay off. But boy, did it look a little shaky early. Here's what I saw. I saw Denver wanting to start fast, obviously taking the big shot, hitting the big shot, saying, hey, we're going to take the lead, get them out of the run game because they knew we can't stop the run. And that ended up being the thing. But the big shot, the fake punt, obviously Sean Payton's known for what he did in the Super Bowl, trying that fake punt, trying to steal possessions. I thought the Bills just pounded them.
Yeah.
And that, like Aaron Cromer's group up front, one of the most underrated groups in the league when it comes to the run game because you don't think about it because Josh just overshadows them. But they really do a good job up front. And I thought, like visions in my head of Cook dragging people 13 yards on a single play. He gets hit on like the 40, ends up on like the 27 or whatever it is. Dawkins sending Ellis to the X-ray room on a kickout block.
Yeah,
man.
They just were too physical. There was a bunch of gap scheme, and then Josh killing people on third and manageable. If you're in 3rd and 3, it's akin to the Jaden Daniels thing, and then some. His ability to pepper the middle of the field. You had some numbers on that, but
Yeah.
you knew he wasn't gonna. You don't even need to target Coleman or Cooper. We said that coming to the game. They have no number one. It's just we're going to take what you give us,
Right.
which is interesting because the last time they played the Ravens, it felt like I think Shakir was out in that game. He's kind of their number one.
Yep.
I mean, the time when he was out there against Houston, I feel like he was almost like a decoy. They barely gave him the ball, if I remember correctly. He's kind of their number one. So I think it goes week to week who they want to attack. In this game, the middle of the field, the run game. The run game was everything. But that 4th and 1 was a backbreaker. We talked about getting the backs out of the backfield to catch passes and how you attack Denver's defense with guys at the second level on running backs, especially linebackers. That penalty was huge, right? That's a targeted running back in Ray Davis. And then in the end zone on the 4th and 1, that's magic. And it kind of put the game out of reach. But that's Josh Allen, that's Lamar. Those guys kill you in the red zone. But coincidentally, Denver was very good in the red zone yesterday. That's what they do defensively. I don't think that's the thing Buffalo's going to struggle with every week. But this was a game where kicking field goals early kind of put it in a there was a mood going into the half where like anything could happen. I mean, Lutz missed a field goal. Nick's missed some throws at the end of the half he'd like to have back. But other than that, it just came down to physicality. And Peyton comes out in the second half and says, and he's one to tell you exactly how he's feeling on the microphone. He goes, the key is time of possession in the second half. And then the Bills proceed to eat the first 10 out of 11 minutes of the third quarter. So you couldn't stop them. The run game makes them really interesting. When you talk about like how do you stop this group? You've got a very evenly distributed amount of weapons, including the backs in the backfield. You got a good offensive line. You got an MVP type quarterback. So I think Denver coming out of this thing is going to see a bunch of holes on their team that they can easily address and be better. It's amazing to me that they got as far as they did with their group. We make a big deal out of like what Washington did.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Tampa. I'll go back and say, hey, Tampa, they got dead cap issues. This team had like legendary dead cap issues.
Yeah.
Okay. And for them to kind of make it work the way they did, you talk about like finding Vele, making him kind of a guy they could throw the ball to. Obviously Cortland Sutton's a stud. Mims had some great plays this year, but nobody scares me, right? Like nobody on that offense really scares me.
There's nobody in the running back room. Cortland he can get open and he can carry.
He's the number one.
Yeah. But we needed,
A dynamic, deep threat that can slot. You don't have to put Cortland in the slot, but like just put somebody in there that can take the top off the defense. Like if they had like a Jaden Reed type guy, I think they'd be a lot closer. I think honestly, running back for that team would do them wonders. And I know we kind of stay away from running backs in the draft and that sort of thing, but if they really like a guy, I would go get one.
Ashton Janty.
Yeah.
They're not gonna have
He
high
might go
numbers. Are they
too
gonna have
high.
high
It's a
don't think
deep-
they're-
it's a
I don't.
deep
He's
running
not going to
back
be
draft
around.
class.
Yeah,
You don't have to
but-
get one early.
Too many guys,
But
yeah.
if you love a guy and you think he's a game changer, because I don't mind the offensive line.
No, it's one of the best in the league.
It just didn't make so much sense why they weren't able to run the ball with authority. I think part of it, again, comes back to the fact that the guys outside don't scare you.
Yeah.
Maybe a trade for Kamara.
Yeah.
Kamara reunion, bro.
That would work
Well, and
great.
that's what we need. Like Sean Payton's always had his joker, Reggie Bush, Alvin Kamara,
Right.
all those guys.
Aaron
in that
Jones,
role.
free agent, right?
Who?
Aaron
Jones. He's been linked. But Tyler Warren, tight end of Penn State.
Oh, Warren.
He is unreal.
He's going to be a stud.
Yeah.
We let him get out of state.
Yeah, we did.
In Petersburg?
Yeah,
Fucking crazy.
come on home. But the
Yeah, go play for Virginia.
the problem that I had with that early in the second half are 2 3 and outs. We'd run the ball, then we're third and long. Run the ball,
That's
run the
right.
ball, third and long. What are like The defense knows what's coming. You can't put Bo Nix in those situations. The successful drives we had, the outside that touchdown drive, but our missed field goal right before the half, and the one downs early in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Started with Bo Nix throwing the ball. He's on the run. He's in rhythm. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows where he's looking. Also, it didn't help that Cortland Sutton dropped a ball. Devon
drops
Bailey
hurt.
dropped 2. Troy
Three.
Franklin dropped another.
Drops
Bailey
hurt.
dropped 3.
The drops hurt.
Yeah, the drops were just terrible. Just the timing of them too. Just
What do we
like
think of
momentum
Ray
of the game.
Davis's touchdown? In, out, if he had black cleats on, would that be an incomplete pass?
No, I thought he was in
That's
because they ruled
racist.
it complete on the field, and I had
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Bills.
Yeah.
What black cleats got to do with it?
Well, then you could see the line
What are you
because white
doing?
cleats.
No, I definitely think that
You're confusing Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship and
that was a
calling
touchdown.
Andy Dalton that redhead. You know,
I mean, he's the NFL redhead.
I don't know if you all saw it, but there was one ridiculous. There was a deep shot, 3rd and 4. Josh Allen hit a tight end going down the sideline for 40 yards. Incomplete as all day. You watch the replay, the ball hits the ground. The Bills kind of saunter up to the line, snap the ball. The refs. This was after the head ref, I forget his name, went and tapped Josh Allen on the sideline. Was like, "Hey, our bad. We'll get you next time." And it was ridiculous.
nobody wanted Denver through the next round.
Oh my goodness! Have you ever
Did Sean
seen?
have a red flag though?
No, he should have.
I'm just checking.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, seriously,
100%.
it's a bad call. There's a lot of bad calls this year. You got to
Yeah.
throw that red flag.
Let it
You got to
sail.
throw the red flag, man. There's so many instances where I see a team hurry up to the line, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, what are we doing? You know, it's almost like they should have somebody at home phoning into the court to the coordinator or the
I'll
head
do it.
coach. Yeah, you could be the guy.
But
I'll
the
do it.
game's on a delay. That's the only thing.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
I saw it as soon as it happened.
Yeah, but it's
I
only
said,
3.
incomplete.
How big a delay is it? You got all that time.
I think it's like a few seconds.
You said sauntered. It was.
Yeah.
They just.
You would have to tap into a live feed at the game somehow
Yeah.
to do that.
So yeah, I mean, like, kind of. Listen, I think a lot of people were on the Broncos for good reason. Like, it felt like a game that kind of worried me because I thought the Broncos might be able to move the ball more. But I thought those guys came to play like dudes in second level. We always talk about this, screaming downhill to fit in the run front. Milano was kind of all over the field a little bit. Absolute dog. Look at
That
him.
was Ty Johnson, not Ray Davis.
Who you
Right.
looking at?
Yeah,
Ty
scored
Johnson
the
in the end
touchdown.
zone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we said Ray Davis.
He said Ray Davis.
Oh, my bad.
No, so I just think overall it's a team that now Buffalo low key has been there every year. Like
Yeah.
not low key, high key.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
And so you think about a team that like doesn't have the rings, but they're one of the most experienced playoff teams in the dance.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just going to be a tall task to ask them to come in and beat that team, especially when you can't stop the run.
Yeah.
And that to me is a little confounding, right?
Well, you've been one of the best teams against the run all
Right.
season.
Right.
It just
Yeah.
slayed it. But I think that was one of the things we talked about on Friday. It was the Bills' offensive line was a top
Pass protecting
yeah.
unit versus Denver's top
Yeah,
5
yeah.
rushing unit, which, I thought by the time Josh ever had to throw, I mean, the run game really takes a lot of pressure off that offensive
Yeah.
line. And so that game next week's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Maybe we'll be there. We should go on SeatGeek. Do we have a sponsorship with any of these
No.
fucking
Not
Seat-
currently, no.
All right, well, you're welcome to hit us up, SeatGeek.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Playoffs. What's up?
I would love to go sit up in like
Oh,
the
yeah.
nosebleeds
Yeah. Sit with the
and
the
like
real
really
fan.
get some all 22 going.
Oh yeah.
$130 is the cheapest get-in price. Not bad.
Where is that one?
That's all the way upper deck.
It's gonna be cold and windy up there.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
I'm wearing like a mask. Not that anybody know who I am.
A shiesty
It's like
man.
$250 for lower deck.
Really?
Lower
Okay.
bowl, I mean.
Oh, sick.
The last thing on this game, what did you all think of Brandon Jones, the collision with Ray Davis? Just that, like,
It's a tough
prayer-
one for him.
Like, what else?
What else
can
can you
that
do?
Yeah,
I don't think. I think some
I understand
people
the
look
flag,
at it
but-
and say like, hey, like, and some people have never been in athletic positions like that.
Right.
No shade. You would say, oh, well, it's pretty fucking easy.
yeah.
Pretty fucking easy.
Yeah.
I just tear my ACL walking up the steps when I'm drunk. I'm a normal guy, but it's pretty easy not to interfere with a guy or hit him above the neck. Like, I just felt like it was a situation where that guy kind of got fucked there. I mean, like he was trying to put the brakes on. I almost felt like
he did as much as he could to not make contact with his helmet in that situation. He led with his shoulder. He was at least turning with his shoulder. But it was like, I mean, Josh did exactly what you're supposed to do: rushes in your face, throw it to the free guy.
It's the right read and
just
close to the right play. But that once that play happened, it felt like it was just
exactly
it's too much. And then the 4th and 1, same thing. I mean, just back-breaking plays, backside of the backfield.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's all the games. We should probably talk about the coaches who are getting axed.
We are, and we're gonna preview this game tonight after a little Airbnb message.
This one is taped, Bo.
What's up, Greenlight fans? It's your boy Dr. Fax, and I want to talk to you about Airbnb. Me and the Greenlight crew, a few years ago, we stayed at Airbnb for the Super Bowl in Arizona, and it was absolutely immaculate. It had a huge cactus in the backyard, had a pool, had enough room for everybody, way better than a hotel. And then recently just purchased a house with my girl, and we found out that we can be hosts. And your house might be worth more than you think, and you can find out at airbnb.com/host.
Perfect. All right, we're back. DTR is going to tweet. Beau Allen doesn't know who DTR is.
I actually tweeted at a guy today and said, "Eat my ass."
Did you really?
Yeah.
Good
you guys
for
want to
you.
go check that out?
Yeah.
How long
Good
you been
for you.
seeing him?
Was it someone just telling you?
Yeah, the guy said
The classic.
The guy goes, "Beau Allen has no value." I was a little.
He said that?
Yeah, I said, "Eat my ass."
You got no value on
Oh
the
my
show?
God.
No, not on the show. It was me. It was a photo of me and Fletch, and someone said something.
Got a lot of value. We don't get to third down without you. The other two guys
You
don't
gotta
eat
show,
if you
you
don't.
gotta show me after the show who said that.
Yeah.
But then he took it. He was a
Because
good
if it's
sport
the
about it.
same-
He's like, wow, I just got shit on by Beau, and I was like,
There-
If it's the same
There is
troll,
a-
if it's the same troll, bro.
There is
Follow
a
through
guy.
with it might be even worse.
There is a guy in the YouTube comments who drops every episode. Drops it.
This guy hates Bo.
hates
Really?
Bo. He Nepo baby Bo.
Nepo
He's like,
baby.
Yeah, when
He
on,
calls me a Nepo baby.
he says thank God, or on Fridays he's like thank God Nepo baby Bo is on the
That's
show.
fucking awesome.
Is it? Doesn't look like you think so.
I've never seen that.
Why'd you ask
He-
to tell us about that?
Yeah,
I never told him about the guy because I just was like,
Nepo baby.
you know, it's
I
just
thought it
better
was
you
funny.
don't know about the big assholes on the
yeah.
Well,
Well, it's geeky because the guy's
what's his
like in a
what's his like
button-down-
YouTube handle or whatever?
Oh, we don't
find it.
know all that often.
Two.
He's without fail because I do sometimes check
That's funny.
because we're still a
I have a
startup.
message for him. Eat my ass, son.
He's just gonna double down, dude.
Hey, if it works once, it's a copycat league.
All right. Well, so we're going to talk about the game tonight. Vikings at Rams. Rams right now, 2.5-point underdogs. Total's 47.5. In the first game, I felt like the Vikings had a lot of trouble with the pass offense of the Rams. And it's a game that Vikings fans came out of it saying, we still had a shot. There was a face mask in the end zone, that sort of thing. We could have gone the length of the field. I just want to see the Vikings clean up some of those issues in the red zone. If you're going to be that way, you got no shot.
Yeah. I want Sam Darnold to bounce back, man. I mean, I was with Joe Buck over the weekend, and he's calling this game. He was talking about how, like, fast people forget. Like, you have one bad game. Everyone in the NFL has such a short memory. People forget. Sam Darnold hasn't had an unbelievable year. I just want him to play well.
We all
I'm
get hit in the
rooting
head
for
for a
the
little.
guy.
Yeah.
He's been great. I want him to play well against this Rams defense. I think he will. He's got the best fucking wide receiver in the game of football, in my opinion, in JJ. So I want to see him going. I think one thing a matchup I'm excited about, Chris, we talked about this a little bit. I want to see Stafford against B-Flow's defense.
Yeah.
Because usually those vet quarterbacks, like Stafford's been around. He's played against defenses like that. Pre-snap, he can diagnose everything so well. He's such a smart football player. And he's going to know where to throw hot, where to go with the ball, matchups that he likes. And that's kind of what I'm curious to see. So I kind of want Stafford to ball. I love the Vikings to win. I think if the Vikes are going to win, they're going to need to score a lot of points because I see Stafford, getting in the 30s. So I'm taking the over in this game.
It's funny, dude. I don't know how to read this total. I don't know how to read this total.
What's it set at?
47.5.
Okay.
I
It's a
kind
low
of
number.
there's a feeling I have where like it could be like another struggle type game. The front for the Rams scares me playing this front. That's one of my biggest
offense or
concerns.
defense?
I'm talking about the offensive line.
Yeah.
Or the offensive line for the Vikings and the defensive front for the Rams. They kind of got after him, especially late in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, like once, and this is, of course, the game they had to deal with Darisaw leaving.
Yeah.
But they did not look great last week, picking up stunts, picking up blitzes. Like,
they didn't pass
I mean,
up.
I know that's not really what the Rams are all about. Like, with a group like that, you kind of line up and rush.
They run good games, though.
No question.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the interior of that offensive line is going to be
Yep.
spotlit tonight as we watch. And I think we are going to do a live watch tonight. So,
Stay tuned.
stay tuned for that. Actually, stay tuned. But
Hang out on the channel.
It's also cool, though. Like,
just stay here.
I like this matchup, Chris.
It's only a couple more hours.
These coaches know each other, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's going to be a great game. And I think, like, honestly, as a player, like, you have to consider it's a very real thing. Like, we thought we had a home game. We don't have a home game. We got to pick up and move, but we're not on the road.
Actually, that was my worst flight, was the Rams.
I don't know, though. I kind of like fleeing giant forest fires.
Agreed. I'm saying more just like tragic situation,
Yeah.
shitty circumstances. There's so much uncertainty. There's an emotional toll involved with that. Now, thankfully, Arizona is a stadium that they're very familiar with. I saw actually McVay putting them in the visiting locker room just because they've been there so many times. Shitty to lose a home game. Shitty to have to go out there. Circumstances are shitty. So
I feel like maybe that's something that, McVay, a great coach, can put a battery in your back about that and kind of turn the scenario in your favor where, like, you're this cornered animal and, like, hey, we don't deserve to be here. We fucking won enough games to have a home game. And, it didn't work out. But, like, let's – and if you're the Vikings – you're just trying to right the ship from last week.
Exactly.
That's a really bad taste you had in your mouth last week. It's another reason why beware of the Vikings, because oftentimes after a team plays like that, they have their best week of practice and they lock in and show up, hot. And so
do we care about your hangover thing?
Huh?
Do we care about your hangover theory?
With the Lions thing?
Yeah.
I haven't checked on it in a couple months. but it could be real. It might be
a physical game.
It was a physical game.
The Lions were the more
It was a physical game.
And the season's getting
and the Rams got a rest.
Longer.
The Rams got a rest.
Yeah.
Which is why I kind of wonder.
But they got rest, but did they? Like running around and doing
running
stuff.
From fires.
Like seriously.
Yeah, no, seriously, that tires you out. Like fucking having to move from here to there, the uncertainty, the mental. Yeah, I know.
Like all that.
No, I know.
Is nuts.
You might they were practicing Thursday with smoke.
Yeah.
And they had to leave.
Like I can't imagine. I literally can't imagine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think it'll be like more than impressive if they come out and they're able to compete well, and this isn't something where I just feel like in my heart that Minnesota is going to boat race them tonight.
McVay's that type of coach, though, that's going to have them ready, dude. He's such a good coach.
Yeah.
I was talking to Whitworth about this last night. I was like, it's so rare to have a guy that's got all the X's and O's, like he's a total football nerd and has all the concepts, but he's also like an alpha. Especially
he had a good comment though. Whitworth said he's one of the few guys who I feel like could be a CEO or like
of
be
any
successful
company
in any field,
company.
Yeah, it was cool to hear that.
When he came on the show, like 10 minutes in, I wanted to go play football for him. It was like he's like one of those guys.
Yeah,
he's just so high energy. Everything to me seems like he turns it into an opportunity.
Yeah,
and that's what they have to do. It's an opportunity to do something great in a tough situation and win for the people back home and all the people who are displaced and didn't get to watch a home game. You also have one of the most dangerous quarterbacks left in the dance in Matt Stafford. If you had to rank the NFC remaining quarterbacks, he might be one. The best version of Matt Stafford. I don't know if I can give Jaden Daniels that title over the best version of Matt Stafford. You know what I'm saying? What did I say?
I don't know. We maybe even haven't seen the best version of Jaden Daniels yet. Like there might be an unknown ceiling there that we haven't seen.
Yes, there is a percentage chance that we haven't seen the best Jaden Daniels yet. I too would like to speculate on that. But in the past, what we've seen with Matt Stafford is the guy won a fucking Super Bowl. Okay, I love you guys, but I just disagree. I disagree. But playing right now, Stafford wasn't playing well down the stretch, and that's what kind of worries you. If the rest wasn't just about rest and it was like he's dinged or something like that, like, and he comes out and he's not, he's.
The Rams have been banged up at points during the season though.
They have,
and they have a home game.
Got a home game.
What do you got for a score?
Fuck. I'm not gonna do that at 4:30. I'm gonna bet this at fucking.
What's the line?
It's 2.5. The Rams are underdog.
I'll go 30.
I wasn't ready to preview.
33-28.
Ooh.
Wow.
Rams.
I think it's like a 24-20 type game. Was that the score of the first game?
30-20 was the score of the first round. Remember, if we talked about this on Friday, the Vikings had lost the week prior, the first time they played to the Lions. So
they were dealing with the hangover.
Yeah.
And they're going to deal with the hangover again, so we'll see.
Maybe
I can't
they
pick
already
this game.
dealt with it.
Also, they invited me to the game, so I'm not going to pick against them. That's just the way this goes. All right? And I'm not going to pick the game. I'll tell you during the live stream who I bet. Okay, we'll start like a couple minutes early. You know?
Yeah.
Because, like one of my old trainers might be watching this podcast right now. Sean
McVay is watching.
Our legend of the game pick the fucking Vikings. No.
Chris, you mentioned it earlier about our picks this weekend or this week between you, Steve, and Macon. Macon needs the Vikings to win by 3 or more to not go 1-4.
No way. We did Steve do really well.
Steve went 3-2. But Macon,
he's been steady, man. He could catch me by the end of the playoffs.
You are at 56-38-1. He's at 53-40-2. Macon is 45-45-4 with 1 to play.
As long as he don't win, we don't really care. Me and Steve are just like, all right, we're good. Bo, I just said somebody in the chat said Nepo baby Bo, and it's you. Fucking reverse psychology. All right. Let's talk about these coaches real quick because I think it's pretty interesting to hear that Vrabel got the job in New England.
Best flight.
And that it's so predictable.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, since I saw him go get his red jacket, I was like, man, wouldn't that be cool? So I'm not going to lie and say I haven't thought this would be cool.
Yeah.
But it does feel like Robert Kraft has kind of like predetermined his decisions lately.
Putting his comfort blanket on.
Yeah. And, I don't blame him when the clock's ticking and you're like, bro, you're in your 80s and you're like, bro, how long am I going to be owning this team?
Yeah.
I
love Vrabel as a coach.
I love Vrabel. But you just have to be careful thinking that the same old stuff is going to work.
Yeah.
I think Vrabel said that outright in his press conference. I'm not Bill, I'm me, which is the right attitude to have here. And honestly, I think if Josh is the guy, okay. Josh has been a pretty good coordinator. He just hadn't been a great head coach. And I think it's kind of soured the whole opinion on him, being a coach in general. But he can call plays. He said it. The thing that attracted him to this job was Drake May. I think that's
definitely so, man.
And being back home.
Yeah.
The whole thing. But I do think like what's interesting is he brought his guy from Tennessee. What was the guy's name? Cowden?
Ryan Cowden, yeah.
He brought that guy from Tennessee.
He's he was like an assistant GM there. I think.
Got it.
But they kept on the guy they had, this Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the dynamic going to be there? I think Vrabel's probably the type of guy that wants to control a lot of the personnel.
Yeah. They have familiarity with that up in New England.
Yeah, they do. And probably this feels like a little bit of a lighter touch.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say so.
It's like you get the best of both worlds. You get the Bill Belichick kind of edge.
Yep.
But you also get a guy, and Vrabel has a fucking serious edge to him.
Yes.
He's talking about weeding out the, the non-competitive people.
I think that makes sense based on some of the things that were discussed in the media about the Patriots this year. I mean, a lot was made of Mayo. I can't remember his exact wording, but he called the team soft or something along those lines. And there was some, tension between the fans and the players and the media and the coach and the fans and the media. And it seems like Vrabel's just not going to be about that bullshit.
No, he's not. He's not going to get up there after the game and say anything that's going to really raise your eyebrows,
Right.
not to the degree that Gerard did when he called the team soft. I think Vrabel's not going to call you soft. He's just going to get you out of there.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But I also think, like, to compare what he's going to do to what Mayo did, even though Mayo failed, like, Mayo didn't have an opportunity. Like, this is going to be a real opportunity for Vrabel, and I hope he seizes it because I really like Mike Vrabel. But
kind of what I was saying earlier, though, Chris, is I guess my concern, I love this hire. I think it's a good fit. It seems very natural. My concern is that the Patriots are going to continue to do kind of what they're accustomed to, what was successful for them in the past. And would like to see them be a little more creative offensively. I don't think they have a ton of offensive playmakers on their roster right now. I think they need to go get some receivers. I like Ramondre Stevenson, but that's what I think. I just want to see them be creative offensively, not fall into the trap of trying to do what they've done in the past that made them successful. Because you can't do that without Bill and Tom.
No, I mean they're going to be. Listen, they're going to be better than you think, quicker than you think. Can he take them to the next level? Challenge for that division. I mean, with damn Josh Allen division, that's tough. But at least if you're the Patriots, I feel pretty good about the way I match up with Miami and with
New York.
with the Jets. God, they're so.
I don't think
forgettable.
anyone in Foxborough is scared of the New York Jets right now.
No, it's just about like, can we catch Buffalo and how long would it take? And you know, I really do. I do like the hire. I think it also underscores that, like, the Ben Johnson thing. Like, there is a universe where. Is there a universe where Ben Johnson's like, all right, I'm gonna stay here again?
I think so.
Like,
I mean,
he could have a bad interview in Chicago and be like,
Well, we got to see how far the Lions go. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, they lose early. Is he going to be hungry to kind of run it back and get it done? If they win it all, will that make him more inclined to leave? I'm not really sure, but
I think it's all about the opportunities now.
And he's the bell of the ball, man. Like, everyone knows that. He's been linked to every single head coaching job because everybody wants his creativity. He kind of has like a youthful, fresh offense that. I mean, look how well the Lions are playing, man. That's really what it is.
I know, but like devil's advocate, like look how good that offensive line is. You know, like look at the way their run game's dialed in.
And look how their organization is built. Like, everyone's rowing in the same direction. Like, everyone's bought in. You know, that doesn't happen overnight.
The only problem is you get a young quarterback. I say this every time you hire a culture guy, and I like some of the culture guy hires. But if you get a young quarterback and he's got a new coordinator and it works, that guy's going to be gone in 2 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're kind of signing up for that type of deal. Now, if it's Josh, maybe the chess move is, if you think Josh is the guy, nobody's hiring Josh again.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and they shouldn't. Like, you really shouldn't get 3 chances at being a head coach. Like, in my opinion, unless the first one went really fucking well.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say I don't like Josh.
But there's a lot of coaches in this cycle that are getting, you know, discussed as potential, you know, retreads. I mean, everyone's talking about fucking Rex Ryan, B-Flow. People are talking about B-Flow. I feel like there's a couple others.
B-Flow would be. I like the idea of B-Flow getting one of these jobs, man.
I do too.
I really do.
Great.
But the other one is McCarthy. You know, actually being given the hook.
Yeah.
After they denied him an opportunity to interview with Chicago.
Robert Saleh's getting linked to jobs too.
Robert Saleh, but I don't think Saleh or Rex Ryan's getting a job. But the point is, I think the value of interviewing some of these guys is learning about your organization. You take as many of these interviews as you can to self-scout. But I do think the McCarthy thing is interesting because it kind of like they shot themselves in the foot, right? Because over the bye week they could have interviewed any number of guys and now they can't.
Yeah.
And now they have to wait till after the playoffs, and you could lose the game of musical chairs. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, I think for McCarthy, looking at it from like the export standpoint, like where does he go? I think Jacksonville might be a good fit.
Yeah.
If they don't run into a guy that they're absolutely in love with, you want to talk about a high floor guy?
Yeah.
Like McCarthy, dude, fans are going to be up and down on McCarthy. They just are.
Yeah.
Yo, if I'm Robert Saleh, Aaron Rodgers got to give me a fade. We got to fight. We got to fight. Because, like, when's he going to get a head coaching job again? It's like, you really fucked my shit up, bro.
So that by that logic, Mayo's got to fight RKK.
No, yeah, but, like.
I'd buy that paper.
Saleh and Rodgers?
No. Well, yeah, I'd buy both of those.
I think Saleh
I might go to the darkness again.
I mean, I think Saul pulled his ass.
You got to make peace with it, not fight it.
Yeah.
Like
Dang, I had a head coaching job, and you single-handedly.
No, he got out of there at the right time, man.
No,
Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
bro. I just think
There was nobody happier than him when he was wheeling his cart up, and they were like,
Yeah.
"Robert, how you doing?" He's like, "I'm fucking at IGA instead of hanging out with that motherfucker."
He got
We're
out of
good."
there at the right time.
I feel like you guys are saying that, but I just feel like the opportunities and the chances to be an actual head coach in the NFL is
His opportunities leaving when he did are much better than they were if he left in week 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
And
But
you have all the stats.
But I truly don't believe that the season would have been as bad if he was still there. Their defense was the only thing that was holding them up to that point, and he was that. As soon as they got him out of there, their defense was terrible. Everything was just.
And that helps his case in head coaching interviews.
True.
And he already has interviews set up with the Jaguars and the Raiders.
I think he probably gets a decent job this cycle.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe.
Let me pose a question to somebody in the chat. This is from A. Lynch in the chat. Johnson would be stupid not to take a head coach job. Even if he sucks, he will get paid in full after he gets fired and immediately becomes an OC again. What you're discounting is the fact that, like, once you've had an opportunity and it wasn't perfect, it kind of torpedoes your value if you want to get out there again. So what he really wants to do is be a really successful head coach. Yeah. Word to the wise, and I'm not talking about you, A. Lynch, but what I'm talking about is, like, for coaches, you did that last year for a reason. Who's to say this year is automatically not any better or any worse? Like, if Chicago doesn't like him for some reason, or he doesn't like Chicago, then where would you counsel your brother Ben Johnson if he was in your family to go coach? Seriously.
Well,
are any of those jobs perfect?
Well,
no. Chicago's closer because it's got a young quarterback and a bunch of pieces, and it's like an organization that absolutely has to get it right, and they're going to give you everything you need to get it right. But like the other ones,
Dallas,
the one that he is tied to a healthy amount is the Raiders, right? And it's because of his relationship. Like, apparently him and Tom Brady hit it off. They do have a ton of cap space, and you
get fired in 2 years, but
that's
who's
the thing.
The quarterback?
Like, yeah. Exactly. Well, who's the quarterback? And do you want to work for a owner, the other owner, not Brady, who has been known to pull trig on the man that, the person that he put in charge?
I'm not taking orders from anybody with a haircut. I love Mark Davis, but I'm just joking. I just wouldn't want to go somewhere where we don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
See any team in QB purgatory.
Yes, I agree.
It's like, or a high draft pick, and you might not be in love with this year's draft class.
Not a good quarterback.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
I do think Devil needs an advocate here. Some things don't need it, but I think.
Do you think we will possibly see Deion Sanders as an NFL coach next season?
Of course, possibly. I mean, like, I think he's after it, and I think his name's in the mix. But like, if the whole thing is like, you have to draft my son, it's like a package deal. Well, like, that's pretty presumptuous that we want either. You know what I'm saying? If I'm an owner, like, why do I have to? Oh, and now I got to like both.
The place it would be
Dallas.
Jerry, I mean, it's open for the taking.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, I'm not going to make an assertion. Let me ask.
Yeah.
Has Deion said he would go coach if his son's somewhere else? Does anybody know?
I don't think he's seen.
Not that I've seen that, but I think he said like was it the Raiders? He would be open, like one place. I think he had mentioned that.
I think at that time they were angling to get Shador to the Raiders.
Yeah. But I think it's
So I don't know. My point is, like, Ben Johnson's young, man, and I don't see Detroit being worse next year. Like, I don't see them being a lot worse. They might be. There might be other better teams, but they're going to be fucking good for a little while here. And I understand the jump ship, get your money while you can, but the jump ship, get your money while you can, even if you get fired in a year, is kind of it's backwards way of thinking when you could pick the right job and be a king for a decade.
Yes.
I agree. That's what I would be after as a young coach.
But I mean, Ben Johnson has been very selective. He was very selective last year. He had a lot of these same opportunities last year, and he stuck around, and look how fucking good they are.
And
he ran from David Tepper.
Deion did say the only way I would consider coaching in the NFL is to coach my sons.
And no disrespect, because I'm a second generation football guy, and I appreciate the battle these guys have had, but not everybody's going to want necessarily to pick that quarterback. And Shador might end up being really good, but like, you have to be like, the chances of both things aligning to where, like, not only is a candidacy or like an opening interested in you, but they're picking high enough and liking your son enough to draft him, like, that's just.
Well, call me crazy. I think that's a massive conflict of interest too. How do you make a tough decision if your rookie quarterback is struggling? I mean, I don't know.
What would you know, Nepo baby?
You fucking you got my ass.
I'm just joking. But boy, oh boy, I would feel super weird in a situation like that. But I mean, like, like if my dad's coaching me for real, like, that would be crazy. Like
No,
he was
I
my head
know.
coach and I was a quarterback. But obviously he's used to it.
Right.
And like, listen, Sanders' family's built different, bro. Like that's a
arguing that.
that's a mentally tough family. Like he's mentally tough as shit, and maybe his son could deal with it. Maybe Shador can deal
I
with it.
just don't know if
Jonathan-
that's a super attractive combination for an owner.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. I guess the point I'm making is like that New England job getting eaten up very quickly by Mike Vrabel makes things very uncertain.
Yeah.
You know, like it whittles if you're an offensive boy wonder guy,
Yeah.
it whittles the really slam dunk jobs down to nothing. Now, Liam Cohen might be in love with Trevor Lawrence, right?
Yeah. I think Liam Cohen to Bears is interesting too.
But then who gets the Raiders job? That's the biggest because
yeah.
who do you think Tom's going to hire? Because Tom's doing a lot of the legwork on this thing.
Tom and B Flow have a history.
I love the B Flow thing.
Yeah.
I want B Flow back
Yes.
in the league.
And I think Jacksonville for B Flow also.
Oh, but he was mean.
Need that.
And we didn't like Vic Fangio either.
Yeah, exactly.
He sucks.
Yeah. Right.
B Flow sucks. He sucks. They're all mean.
Need that. And then Vrabel, like the take on Vrabel is that he's
He's mean.
He's a tough son of a bitch too, right?
All fucking
I think
coaches
mean
are
might be
mean,
back,
bro.
bro.
Mean, yeah. I mean,
think
Mean is
might
in
be
in
back.
2025.
yeah.
Mean is in.
Yeah.
Too many loafs and too much bullshit going on the
Yeah.
field and everything.
We can't have all
these
these
players back into shape. Like,
He was mean.
could you imagine that?
You know, Vic Fangio, he's definitely not nice. He's a nice guy.
You want to know what's
But when you
nice?
see Vic Fangio
You ever play
and you
with
run up
Ron
to him before the game, like he's just focused on the fucking game, dude. He's not gonna do a bunch of pleasantries with you.
No.
But he might be one of the reasons the Eagles, if they get a ring, he'd be one of the biggest reasons.
It's Teddy Bridgewater's birthday today. I hope you wish him a happy birthday. Isn't it?
he did say that.
Isn't it Drew Lock's birthday? It is.
It is.
It's the best Vic Fangio quote ever.
God, he is a fucking piece of work. And I barely know him, but he's hilarious.
He was captured on television with a Zin right by his.
I know.
saw that.
I know. What was it?
Zinnies.
What
Looked like a
flavor?
spearmint
Looked
to
like
me.
a spearmint
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Spearmint
Oh
3.
yeah. Speaking of, Teddy's back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back up. That's great.
How do you feel about Teddy? Did you see Teddy was on the pivot with Ryan?
What did
And he was talking about like that at their high school they beat up their players, kind of like I don't want to miscategorize it.
Like-
The high
But,
school
like,
that
they
he
fight
was
'em.
coaching.
Like they put towels on their hands at the half if they're not playing well and punch them.
Mean is back.
Mean is back in
Mean is
2025,
back.
bro.
I love
This
it.
is football.
Hey,
Yeah.
you have to find a way to
But that's how
relate-
well liked
relate-
Teddy Bridgewater is.
Yeah.
That didn't really register. Everybody's like, yeah, you know,
because people you have
Beat
to
'em-
understand
beat 'em up,
too,
Teddy.
like you got to understand
They got the
area-
championship.
the
anything
area
that starts
he
with
grew-
you got to understand is always good.
Yeah, like you just got to understand the
I wouldn't.
area that he grew up in and those
Yeah.
kids and what they know. And those
Us
kids
Nepo
probably,
babies
they
wouldn't
probably
We wouldn't
understand.
understand.
Yeah.
We wouldn't
They
understand.
probably love Teddy.
I love Teddy too. I just was curious. He's right up your alley. An issue like this.
Yeah.
Are you pro fighting the players or pro not fighting?
I mean,
the
it's just one of those things. It just depends
just
on
one of those things.
It's hard. It's hard to think about now, like as a parent, but like
If my coach hit me, oh my god,
Dude, there was. Oh, God, yeah.
in high school,
yeah,
I'm
But
250.
You were sitting right.
What are we gonna do?
You were sitting right next to me when I got kind of tapped with a book in the behind my head.
Well, that was your job. Take care of that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, what'd you do?
Was it a self-help book?
You stopped me. You calmed me down
Yeah.
from getting up and probably getting kicked out of school.
Well, because it's one thing for me to get myself kicked out of school, but when it's somebody else making a decision, I don't want to see that happen. You know what I mean? But that was funny. I forgot about that.
I'll never forget about it.
I bet you won't. I bet you still like. I bet you still like to go Teddy Bridgewater on the coach.
I just want to get him back. Just be like, you remember this?
All right, cool. And I think that's everything.
Good run.
Oh, it's a great run,
Just
but
full of
every
fake
race must end. We have run the race, and we get to go watch Monday Night Football. We will be on camera again tonight, watching ball. So please, like, if you listen to this podcast and you want to just turn it on to some background noise or something, we'll be talking football, we'll be bullshitting, we'll be having fun. Let's boost these live stream numbers tonight. You know,
After, oh yeah, do the
Live it.
if you don't text the live stream link to 5 people, something bad will happen to you. Pass it
Do we have
on.
merch? Do we have merch?
Yeah, we got merch.
Can we give
We're being
stuff
mean
away?
too.
We'll give
You'll
plenty
break-
of stuff away.
you'll
We might
break
give away
both
some
your
tickets.
legs.
We're gonna give away. We're gonna give away.
I love those. You know, when people send me that shit, I'm like, do it. I'd rather break both my legs than be told, fucking, I gotta pass this on to 5 people. You know, the whole like,
Yeah.
well, you have received a message from a true friend. If you don't pass this on, a true friend sending you something that if you don't pass on, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. But pass the link on to 5 people, or something bad's gonna happen.
Games
to you.
at 8, 7:45. We'll be live.
Yeah,
Sound good?
something like that.
All right,
Good.
7:45,
Everybody go
come back.
shit, shower, and shave.
Yep.
We're
2.5
back on
hours.
the chow line in 2 hours. Oh my god, dude!
Jump in your trunk. I don't have a car.
You need a ride?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, we got dropped off
Gonna
here,
be
didn't
posted
we?
up.
that's so good.
And we'll end on a BetMGM.
Let's
I love
end.
you.
Yeah,
Can I do one? I've never done one.
yeah, do
Yeah.
it. Do
You
it.
see the
Try your hand. The one guy on YouTube loves this.
Yeah, this is for that fucking Nepo baby cocksucker. Fuck you, eat my ass. All right, here's an ad read from the Butter King. Thanks to BetMGM and all you football fans. I want you to picture something. You bet your favorite player's first touchdown score, but he throws a block to send a teammate into the end zone. And you lose your bet, right? Wrong! With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first TD scores second. Bet on any pro football player to score the first TD of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. Keep that in mind next time you throw in a first TD score. Bet with BetMGM. Happy hunting.
That was really good.
Thanks, man.
Nice.
Yeah,
Bo.
Yeah, so I'm not just a Nepo baby. I got
No.
the fucking talent to
he
back
earned
it
his
up.
way, bro.
God,
Yeah.
He earned his way.
I got a great facts viral of the week.
Hit me.
It is going to LiAngelo Ball, who out of nowhere is dropping music, and the song "Tweakers" has just earned him an $8 million record deal, up to $13 million, where he owns all of his music and he gets to start his own label. I just want to say shout out to LeVar Ball. 3 sons. They made LeVar Ball look so crazy for having faith in his sons and just marketing them the way they did. And what do you know? All 3 sons, they ended up doing great. Lonzo had a little detour because of the shoes and the foot, but he's back playing ball. He makes $20 million a year. The younger son, LaMelo, he's in Charlotte making 30-something a year. And now Jello got the hottest song in the country, one of the hottest songs, and land himself a deal. This song dropped a month ago, bro. Imagine that. Like you dropping one song.
I'm Team Cameron. I'm sorry.
Cameron?
Yeah, didn't he get into a beef with Cameron?
Yeah, a little
I'm Team
spat.
Cameron, bro.
But I mean, that's nothing.
But it paid off though. Look at this.
Like, what is that?
We'll talk marketing.
Bro, it's a month. That's like
So
that's
here's
like
the deal.
crazy. That song got
Everybody
that
turn in
popular.
their laptops. We are now a record label here.
Finally.
But here's
Seriously, I
oh,
want to
here.
do like we'll just make a fucking let's make like a fart album and it's got to be like at least a mil. Just dudes farting. Because it sounds like you can make money and put out anything you want in the music.
I would
industry
rather
now.
listen to that.
It's just one of
Macon
those
would be
things.
the lead
Like with
singer.
music, here's the thing with music, you never know what's gonna hit. But like if it's appeasing to
Is it
your
good?
ears,
Is this good?
the song
It
like
is
it's
good.
It actually is good. He can rap.
Put that shit on.
Okay, put it.
and-
Well, I can't
and
put it
it
on. We
has-
don't get flagged by
and
YouTube.
it has like the song just has like memorable like.
But I'm
like,
Team
parts.
Cameron though.
Lonzo wrote.
And
Lonzo.
Lonzo wrote on it.
Yeah.
And the Ball family, that's even more to LeVar. He owns a label. It's the label's called
No,
Ball
listen.
to like Ball Born to Ball.
All-star dad made fun of Jason Whitlock. That was amazing. Raised 3 successful sons, right? Doing all types of crazy shit.
I just hated the narrative that they put on him because
What was the narrative?
They were just like, oh, he's too much. He's doing this, and it's just
But
like,
both
bro,
things can be true.
I
You know, it's like that dad at Little League that you're like, man, fuck, dude, let the kid live a little bit. But like ultimately, maybe he's
usually the
helping
dad
his
that's
son.
Not good.
Maybe he's helping his
That's
son.
usually to the kid. That's usually the dad of the kid that's not that.
Not always, bro. I've seen
Yeah.
some Spikes really work out. Talking about Spike from Little Giants.
Oh.
And then some kids like they just
Spike.
all the other kids get taller than them or something, or the other or some. There's a lot of instances where
Or
the
who
kids
was it,
get
Billy
burnt
Bob?
out.
Or no, who was that? Wasn't that like a country music star with like
Who?
Friday Night Lights? The crazy ass dad. Through the
I
Oh,
don't
Tim
want
McGraw.
Your
Tim
life.
McGraw.
I don't want your
the
life,
movie.
Dad.
yeah, that's sure.
So yeah, man, like fuck yeah, LeVar Ball, hell yeah, dude.
Oh,
But yeah. Anyways, I'll
got a
go.
drip
I'll go.
king.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
The Butter King. I was feeling myself yesterday. I had my Super Bowl ring on.
extended the show to tell.
I had my little Kith Eagles gear on.
I was surprised you didn't pick yourself in Kylie's corner as the drip king. On
Well, I was
Friday night.
wearing makeup.
I
and I
could
didn't want,
tell.
bro. I didn't want that.
You look like you just.
Every time they cut to me, I was like, "Is that a fucking drag
Oh
queen?
my
Look like a
God.
drag queen."
You want to know? You want to know? What's,
Dude, if you haven't seen the photos, it's bad.
You want to know what's funny? Listen, we're at the casino, and like I'm kind of sleep. I'm kind of like passing out, but the TV's on with the sleep timer, and it's on whatever channel the
ESPN.
football game was on, ESPN, and I'm like sleeping, kinda, and then I hear that show start, and I hear Bo's voice, and when I turn and look at Bo on the screen, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Dude, facts. I didn't know I was doing that until
And then-
half an hour before I got on my
Then
flight. It
the
was-
very next thing when I say "What the fuck," it's your bare ass. picture
yes,
on the
I did
screen.
not know that Kelsey
Double?
was putting that on there either.
Yeah, bro, double what the fuck's in
His
a second.
bare ass was on that
It
show.
was
Yes.
a picture of Bo laying butt naked on a bed,
Laying.
Yes.
With
Yes.
his bare ass
face,
out.
face down.
Yes.
Yes, bro.
Yeah.
And they showed down the East. I was like, wait. I had to,
Without my permission, I'm fucking suing ESPN, bro. I didn't know Kelsey was doing any of that.
I didn't know you can. I didn't even know you're allowed to do that.
Late night.
Show ass. That's softball
Yeah, you
porn.
can show ass.
Can you
People-
on ESPN?
People been showing asses.
Man,
How'd I look, Nate?
bro, like I
Double
was-
cheeked up?
like nah, bro. And it's funny. I heard you say that. Like you were just like, yeah, no one's ever seen this picture until now, and I thought it was a bit.
Would you call? Would you call?
No, I'm dead ass serious.
Hearing
Dude,
you say that, that's kind of.
I did not know that that was going up there. My mom watched that
Would you call
show.
him a Becky?
bro.
You brought it up.
Alexis, Texas.
Oh, no. Goodbye. Goodbye. Hey, you know what? We need the AOL goodbye.
No, you need nah. You need that on
Yeah, we
there.
need George Pickens. All right, y'all. That's enough. I've
Thanks
had
for being
enough.
here. We'll
Take it
see you-
easy. I gotta
see you
go
later
home.
tonight.
I'm tired. Y'all take
Later
take
tonight.
care. See you later tonight. Fuck.